lot of football, haven't we? Let's burn our way through it. Crystal Palace versus Arsenal, ending in a draw. Arsenal ending with 10 men on the pitch after that nasty tackle by Aubameyang. VAR adjudged it a red card offence. I think it'd be hard to disagree with that. We're going to talk about VAR in a second. Chelsea beating Burnley 3-0. Everton claiming the points over Brighton. Vital for them that they started picking up points. A lot of disharmony in that camp. Southampton, Emil beating Leicester at home. Shocking stuff. And Manchester United slapping Norwich about. Great point for Newcastle at the Molineux, drawing with Wolves. Onto the table then, starting at the bottom. Norwich remain rooted to it. Watford, of course, still to play, so they might be able to peel themselves out of relegation. Bournemouth in trouble now, big time. But the story, of course, is Southampton climbing out of that perilous situation they found themselves in, only 2 weeks ago now. So good stuff for Hassan Hurtler's men. Let's move on to the top, where Liverpool are sitting pretty, 28 points clear of Tottenham. This time last season, gentlemen, Tottenham were only 6 points behind Liverpool. What a difference a season makes, hey. And Manchester United back in the hunt for Champions League football with their victory, but Chelsea, still making sure the buffer is 5 points. Right. Let's chat VAR then, reluctantly. It's coming up every single week, starting with you on the end, Doogie. Sheffield United managed to escape with all 3 points.
They did.
Probably shouldn't have been. I feel it was very harsh to a judge, Declan Rice, to have conceded a handball, let's say, in the build-up. Not really anywhere else he can put his hand. What did you make of the situation?
I feel like most people's anger is being directed at VAR when it probably should be directed at the handball law, which they introduced at the beginning of this season, where if it touches the attacker's hand at any point during a build-up to the goal, it will be adjudged a handball. I think VAR probably just did its job there, but I think people can have grievances with the way that the rules haven't been adapted to the technology. I think the offside calls are now getting on tight calls. They need to be looked at, because I don't think a millimetre is really what anyone wants to see for a forward being adjudged offside. We want to see attacking play, we want to see goals. But I feel like in this instance, VAR did its job according to the law, but perhaps they need to change the handball law, because I don't think many people would have had an issue with that goal, because it brushed his hand on the way through.
Yeah.
And what a play from Rice as well. So a bit of a shame, that one.
Safe to say he wasn't very happy with it post-game, tweeting that no players basically want VAR in the game. Are you in agreement with him? Can you understand players' frustration at the moment?
Yeah, totally. It's not for me at all. I think over the course of the season, we've seen so many instances where it's just affecting games. The fans don't really know what's happening, the players. It's an emotional game, and that's the biggest thing for me. It's taking the emotion out of the game. I know I'm going off subject here, but Tyrone Mings scores his first Premiership goal at Old Trafford, runs away like. It's just the emotion's not there. Like, you want to go and celebrate a goal, and even the other night, for me, I mean, he actually gets the ball headed off his hand. He's not doing it. He's in a running motion. It's causing all sorts of kind of headaches, and I'd just like to see it get rid of.
Yeah, I mean, teething issues is probably underselling it. Of course, did its job in the Leicester game. Johnny Evans was offside for the goal. But let's go back to the Sheffield United-West Ham incident. Did you see it, Emil? What did you think of it?
Harsh. Very harsh. It's a weird one. When they say that they're really punishing the strikers, aren't they? Or the attacking team. Whereas you want to see goals. It's taken away the fun of actually celebrating a goal. We had the game, I can't remember which game it was, Iheanacho scored. And he actually did very well, because he'd have seen the flag go up, but he carried on playing and scored. Took it back to VAR. Well, he's gone and celebrated. Took it back to VAR. They've said, yes, it's a goal, and he's gone and celebrated again. He's just taken away that emotion that you can actually go and celebrate. People will score a goal and they'll go, what do I do now? Do I wait? Do I do this?
Totally,
but VAR should really just be used for the offsides. I think for the handball, we were lucky at Leicester. I think it was Wolves.
Yeah,
I thought that was a goal myself when Wolves scored, and it got disallowed because within it hit someone's hand, and it did hit someone's hand. It wasn't like he flung his hand at it. It just hit his hand, and I just don't think them ones are handball. That's just my view on it.
Yeah, of course. I think the problem is that people just don't know where they are. We're seeing inconsistencies across formats as well. Michael Oliver using the pitch-side screen in the FA Cup because, of course, it's encouraging that competition. In Serie A, they're having a mid-season review of it because they're not quite happy with the time spent on the side of the pitch too. So it just feels like it's all up in the air. Should be implemented in some way, shape or form, right? But you're very much, saying that it's consistency amongst the officials that is the problem rather than the technology itself, do you?
Yeah, I'm
tweaks.
kind of a fan. To be honest, I'd rather see the right calls made. I know it's different for the players, I know it's different for the fans inside the stadium, but I feel like when it's implemented properly with the right rules attached to it and done in the right way, I think it could actually be really useful. You see in Australia, the ref is mic'd up to the stadium. Everyone knows what's being reviewed. They then review it on a screen inside the stadium. Everyone feels very connected to it. There's also talk of bringing in more of a cricket review situation where the manager gets 3 calls per game to review something, rather than reviewing every instance and stopping constantly the game. You're seeing 6 or 7 calls, often with no need to check, really. So I think they can learn off other sports, but I'm for the technology if it's implemented the right way with the right rules attached to it.
OK, great. What are the fans saying in the comments about VAR then?
Yes.
Having their say, William?
Well, I mean, lots of disgruntled ones, as you'd expect, Chris, but there's an interesting take from Clay the Kid. He said if his hand wasn't there, the goal wouldn't have happened. Right decision to chalk it off.
Oh, very cutthroat. Where he's supposed to put his hand, though, Alan?
Exactly. It's like you think Egan comes in from the side to header it. He's running in a running motion. Is he supposed to run like that?
Yeah.
Where does it go?
Is that
you can't play football
that's
with your
not
hands
unnatural, is it? It's not outside the
No,
natural silhouette.
If you're running, that's your natural movement, and he's headed it from here into there. Obviously, I get his point. He's basically saying if his hand wasn't there, it would have went there. I do, to a certain extent, understand where he's coming from, but
I think as well, I think it needs possibly an ex-player or someone within that remit who's been in the game, who actually played on the pitch, to give their point of view on situations as well.
Bit of common sense.
Well, it'd be a bit of common sense because, like Hutz is saying, that where's he supposed to put his arm?
Yeah.
Where's his arm supposed to go? It's not like he's gone like this. He's actually just gone in his normal, natural running. And I think Antonio as well, he's been unlucky with some of them.
exactly.
Or Raheem Sterling as well. Yeah. Certain individuals have definitely suffered at the hands of VAR this season. Talking of suffering, Leicester losing at home to Southampton, Emil. Not great for their Champions League ambitions.
No.
Hopefully, this doesn't take the sting out of their run. How impressed have you been with them this season and over the Christmas period, maybe more specifically?
Yeah, the Christmas period has been difficult, and everyone knows what the Christmas period's like. It's very thick and fast. But, this is just one blip. They've had them over a period. The manager is brilliant at picking the team back up, and they'll be back on the training field looking for the next game and looking to put things right. Like I said, I would only suggest it's a little blip. I expected them to win this game, to be honest, but like Ings doing well, Southampton are on an incredible run at this moment in time as well. So you can't take it away from what they've actually done.
A little bit of revenge for Hasenhüttl as well after that 9-0 defeat at the hands of Leicester. I mean, everything they hit that day went in. So he'll be feeling, this victory is extra sweet, the German manager. We can see there enjoying the full-time scenes with his players. Doogie, Southampton, I think they've been unlucky this season. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'd probably agree. I think they had quite a few injuries at the start of the year. I think the thing that's held them back in the first half has really been their defending at points. But since they've got Moussa Genepro back fit, since Danny Ings has really hit this hot run of form, I mean, people are talking him, getting up the pecking order, potentially going to the Euros now, and with good reason. He's been absolutely phenomenal. But it feels like there's a few more strings to their bow, and maybe Hasenhüttl has released the brake that was slightly on them in the first half of the year, and they've got a lot of pace in their side with the likes of Redmond. Ward-Prowse is probably the best dead ball specialist in the Premier League. So there's plenty of weapons there.
He's gone there.
It's a big statement first up, but get those comments going. But yeah, I feel like Hasenhüttl completely vindicated. People were talking he'd have 2 games to go after that 9-0 defeat, but what a turnaround.
Yes, indeed. Very dependent on Danny Ings and James Ward-Prowse still, aren't they? I think responsible for around 60% of their goals, so they'll be looking to strengthen in January. On the subject of strength, let's take a look at the strength of the lineups. Tottenham then. And the story here is 20-year-old youth product Tanganga starting his first Premier League game against Liverpool as part of a back three. Gentlemen, he's only got one senior appearance to his name in the third round of the League Cup. I believe that was against Colchester, if memory serves me correctly. Other than that, huge change. Looking quite stable, barring the absence of Harry Kane. He's opted for a front two of Son and Moura. And like I said in the intro of this show, not fared very well without their captain, only winning one of the last 9 fixtures where he's not started in the starting XI. Straight to Liverpool. OK, so very consistent. Oxlade-Chamberlain comes in. Salah, Mane and Firmino have enjoyed matches gone by against Tottenham, particularly Mo Salah's a very good scoring record against them, and Sadio Mane has been on fire of late. Pretty much has a 1-in-2 ratio now for Liverpool, which, you know, when you consider he was brought in as a winger, is absolutely phenomenal.
Great for fantasy as
Right.
well.
I mean, Tanganga, like I said, is the story of today's fixtures. And Jose Mourinho had this to say on him prior to the match.
Jose, you've sprung a real surprise. 20-year-old Japhet Tanganga, his Premier League debut. What is the thinking?
That's Tottenham. He's a good kid, working hard for years with a good pre-season. From what we watch, we analyze, he had a good pre-season. Working hard to have a chance, and this is Tottenham. It's a great chance for him.
Has he got something specifically that you like for this game? Because you've got other experienced defenders on the bench.
He's fast. He's very fast. And we think we need fast people when you play against Salah's, Mane's, and people that is fantastic attacking spaces behind Firmino. We need speed. So maybe we lose in experience. Of course, we have more experienced people than him, but he's fast.
What will your approach be today? Obviously, you're looking for a positive result, but will you go toe-to-toe with them, or have you got to be cautious?
You have to wait and see. But when Liverpool has the ball, if you don't respect the super quality they have, you are in trouble. They score goals every match in the Premier League for some reason. So when they have the ball, we have to respect the quality, the talent, the speed. When we have the ball, we have to try to play and score without any kind of limitation. So the work we did during the week was when we don't have the ball, we have to be really, really focused and at a high level for not to commit mistakes and not to be punished. But when we have the ball, we have to feel exactly the way we try to feel in every match.
You've had time to work on it. How different will your team play to the way they normally do when they normally have their captain, Harry Kane?
Yeah, it's obvious. It's simple, it's obvious. We don't have Harry Kane. We don't have another player similar to Harry Kane. We don't have Sissoko. We don't have another similar player to Sissoko. But again, I'm speaking with you about this because you asked me. But after the game, I don't want to be speaking about this. I want to be speaking about the game.
Have you got enough to win this game?
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, there we have it. Some choice words from Jose. We can see Tanganga on the screen now. My line of questioning to you gentlemen on the sofas. If you're Tanganga, do you feel like a pawn in Jose's game here? He's saying, look, it's the winter window. Look how much need we are in for defensive reinforcements. Or is he going to be fearless in this situation and see it as an opportunity to really put himself in the first team picture? Alan?
I don't know. I mean, it just seems like just throwing him in a little bit at the deep end, making maybe a bit of a statement saying that we need kind of reinforcements. Personally, I think if he was going to do this and he knew about it a couple of weeks ago, why not just play him in the Middlesbrough game? Get him a game, get him used to playing, get him up to speed and then play him in this game, and then you know what he's all about. But it's going to be difficult. It's a difficult game to come in and play for your first game, so he's going to be up against it. I like to see how, I think Danny Rose will help him coming back in with a bit of experience, helping him out, so it'd be good to have him alongside him, but we'll see how he does.
A baptism of fire indeed. But as we were discussing off camera, you see some of the youngsters coming through now, Emil, like Curtis Jones in that Liverpool game when he put in a man-of-the-match performance against Everton, saying he's disappointed he's not getting more game time for arguably one of the best sides the Premier League has ever seen. So do you think there might be an element of that, a bit of fearlessness from Tanganga?
I think so. And if you look at his pedigree, he's played national team from 16s upwards. So he's in a different realm anyway. And he'll be very, very confident with himself. I think Jose was talking about him being very quick. So he'll be a young lad thinking that he's quick. He'll be thinking that he's quicker than them. So he'll want to put himself up against that. The only thing that comes with that is overconfidence and trying to play out and then taking the time too much and then getting the ball nicked off him, and then you never know what's going to happen after that. But I think he's going to be very confident. The only thing is he's got to make sure his first touch of the ball is a good one. Yeah. Then you know you're going to have a good game.
Indeed, let's hope he gets off to a good start. What about the absence of Harry Kane then? How do you explain, obviously, a world-class player, but why can't Tottenham find a solution without him?
The thing was, I think last year they did okay when he. It's always, I think there's been every season where he's had a little bit of an absence with certain injuries.
Yeah, Son came and did really well, didn't he?
There you go. So that's what I was going to talk about. Son. Now he needs to step up now. There's always got to be someone who's got to step up, and it's usually been Son. So Mora or Son, one of them has got to step up and give you something different. They're not going to give you everything that Harry Kane gives you, and usually that's goals, but they can give you something else, and they're very, very dynamic, very, very quick. But they're up against two outstanding Liverpool defenders, so they've got to figure out how to move them around.
Yeah. Alan, how do you expect Jose Mourinho to adapt his approach in the absence of his star captain?
I think like Emil's saying, you've got two boys up there that are dynamic, are fast, can move the centre halves, where Kane would maybe he'd be the kind of focal point, get the ball up to him and see what can happen, especially inside the box. But I think the likes of Van Dijk and Gomez, who are quick, you have to move them about to make space for other players like Ali making runs from deep. I think that's what he'll be looking for, sitting nice and tight if there's a chance to go forward, and then have your likes of Ali making deep runs in behind them to try and stretch them a little bit.
Interesting. Is the comments section kicking off about Harry Kane? How do people think Tottenham are going to fare without negative outlook?
Yeah, more people kicking off with Doogie with his outlandish claim that James Ward-Prowse is the best free kick taker in the Premier League.
Controversy.
Neil Kennedy said Ward-Prowse scores bangers, but he's not consistent with them. So get your shouts in for the best set piece takers in the free kick department in the Premier League. But a lot of chat on VAR. Question to the panel, just back to that one on Rice. Quick yes or no. Would you have chalked off the goal yesterday, knowing what you know now, Emil?
Well, you've got to chalk it off, because that's the rules. But no, I wouldn't like to have.
So that's a yes and a from
Yeah.
you. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Alan?
I'm totally on the fence as well. I can see why they've chopped it off, but as a player, the ref didn't see it, nothing. It was given a goal, so I'm on the fence again.
Doogie, you're just
with current rules, yeah, you've got to chalk it off.
Fantastic.
Are you going to disagree with the birthday boy?
No.
No, there we have it. Right, we've just touched upon how Jose might approach this, but here's Jurgen Klopp on how Liverpool might go about proceedings.
The names on the team sheet, does that tell you enough about how they'll approach the game, or do you think you'll have to wait for the game to unfold as to how they'll approach it?
I think with this team you can do everything. You can defend deeper and can go for counter-attack, but you can play football with this team as well. We all know Aurier and Rose, if they are the wing-backs, then they are proper wingers. So you have two top strikers with Mora and Heuming, and midfield is football as well. So everything is possible with that, but it's about what we let them do, what they want to do, and what we let them do. So there are two big departments in the game. They have the ball, we have the ball. We try to be influential in both situations, and hopefully we can do that.
Is the best way to impose your game on them?
As often as possible. So it's not always possible to go there too good for that, but if it's possible, we should try that, yes.
All the best to you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, as always.
Fascinating. What do you make of Liverpool's chances today? I mean, it feels redundant saying it at this point, doesn't it? 37 games unbeaten. They've won 32 of those. And if they win today, they eclipse City's best start to a Premier League season since 17-18. I guess, maybe I asked this in a tongue-in-cheek fashion. Do you see Liverpool winning convincingly today, or at least Tottenham making it, a bit more attritional, muddying it up?
Tottenham are at home, so they have to. They have to show something, and they have to make it difficult. I wouldn't put it past Jose to be very solid and just make it not a nice game and try and nick it. but you've got players that can break you down and create a lot in the Liverpool side. So it's going to be interesting to see what they can actually do.
Jose's record for Manchester United against the big sides, questionable, but could he be the man to end this run? He's not, you know,
I don't think
the ideal manager to set up against, is he?
I don't think you can ever doubt him, to be honest. Mourinho, I think he's always tends to have something up his sleeve, but I'm like Em. I think he'll make it difficult for them. He'll try and frustrate them, hit them in the break, but I just can't see by Liverpool. They're so strong at the moment with the front three. It's just to even think about playing against them as a defender, it'd cause you nightmares. So it's going to be difficult for them, I must admit. It's going to be tough.
If you had to pick one of them to play against, obviously your position was on the right-hand side, but who would you fancy your chances against in 90 minutes or damage limitation?
What, the front three?
Who would you opt for?
I think I'd rather play against Firmino, to be honest. Just hopefully just
let him
there,
drop
just let him just go inside or something. I remember playing against Mane. I was like, I was like, what is going on here? But honestly, it's on form. These guys could destroy anyone.
I look at Salah, right, and I say I would prefer to play against him than Mane, because he plays up against you, so you can actually,
you know where you are.
Yeah. Whereas Mane's always running all over
The
the
difficult
place.
ones is see when they come off you and then try and run in behind you. That's the hardest thing to do. I used to think I'd prefer playing against, sounds daft, like a David Silva or whatever, where I can see him, or he wants to play in front of me and play a pass, because then it's somebody else's job as long as I can see him there. So it's difficult. These front three are fantastic at the moment.
I mean, the running power of Sadio Mane as well, absolutely incredible, isn't it? Just on counter-attacks, he is the guy. He gets it up the pitch. Boogie, how do you expect this game to play out at the start? We're going to see Tottenham sit deep, deploy a low block. What are we saying, mate? Get your crystal ball out.
I would expect so. I think it will all about be the pace of Son and Lucas on the break. Lucas has had a pretty good last 18 months in a Spurs shirt. Difficult first half of the season, but I think he finished with 15 goals last year. He's popped up on occasion this year as well. But I just think Liverpool, and they've just come through it completely unscathed. They can go 16 points clear with a game in hand today. Like, this sort of dominance, we thought we'd seen it all with Man City, but they've just taken it to another level. So I think it's going to be a really tough ask for Spurs, but hoping for a good game.
Yeah, I mean, I was just going to say, let's hope the occasion gets to them. But that's not happened in a very long time, has it? Of course, going unbeaten in a calendar year. Absolutely ridiculous. Right, it's your last chance, guys, to get some predictions in the comments below. If you're not subscribed to Football Daily and Soccer AM, hit those subscribe buttons below now. Will, a couple of questions to keep us ticking over then until half-time.
Yes.
Half-time, even the first half.
Got a long way to go, yeah. Brace yourselves. But Gary even says he's a Tottenham fan, and he says, don't think we'd win even if everyone was healthy. Emil, is that something you agree with?
No, it would be a tough game, but yeah, I still feel that Liverpool would even win if it was everyone was fit. Kane's got a good record against Liverpool, though.
Yeah.
So you never know with Harry Kane in the side, but with him not in the side, it's going to be a difficult one.
Alan, someone like Lucas Moura, we saw come in at the end of last season. I mean, practically took him to the Champions League final. Didn't start the Champions League final. Now he's been asked to be brought back in to do that similar job. Would that affect his mentality going in?
No, because look, at the end of the day, he's a professional player. I think it was kind of harsh last year, like the Champions League final, what he done for the team. I understand Harry Kane is Harry Kane, and he could give you something special, but it was difficult to see him being dropped. But I think today he gives you something different, that pace that obviously Kane doesn't have. In the box, there's no doubt Kane is one of the best in the world, but you need to stretch them. I think you need to cause them a different kind of problem, and I think with Mora's pace and Son also, they could kind of upset the apple cart and give them something different to think about.
Yeah, maybe just sticking him on Trent Alexander-Arnold. We know that he likes to be further up the pitch.
You think of the space, the two fullbacks fly forward, they're amazing at it, but there's going to be spaces in behind, and I'm sure Mourinho would be saying, try and exploit the space.
He'd have looked at it. There was the Man U game where James got down the right-hand side, crossed it for Rashford, and that was actually Robertson playing the ball into Origi, so he's left his space. Origi didn't get a hold of it, and they've hit it into the space behind them. So, but you need the pace to exploit it.
Right, you'd imagine Christian Eriksen. He needs that move, according to
Most certainly. Right, let's have a look at the price boost then before we kick off here. We've got a few there for you. Son and Salah both to score in 90 mins, now 15-2. Van Dijk race again on the cards given his current form. Tottenham to win 2-0, extremely ambitious, reflected there in the odds of 33-1. But we like a bit of positivity, don't we, Will, on this show?
Yeah, we
Odds
do,
accurate
mate.
at the time of recording and are subject to change. Check out the website for more details. You have to be 18 plus to play along. Right, we've just kicked off. Time to get our predictions in, gentlemen. Very quickly, we'll zip across the studio. Starting with you, Dougie.
very boring. I'm going to go 2-1 Liverpool. Quite comfortable.
3-1 Liverpool.
Yeah, I'm going to go for 3-0, Emil, to Liverpool.
2-0 Liverpool.
OK. Will?
Well,
I'll go for 3-3.
oh, yeah. He loves the drama.
It's just something we do here, Alan. A little bit.
Just want somebody to
They
say
just bring me
something.
in, yeah.
You
Bit of a
know,
maverick.
next time you're on, you'll give him the point. Then you'll just give him that as if to say you.
It's the old
cheeky
3-3.
so-and-so.
If it comes in now, there's a highlight reel that's ready to be uploaded.
Right, we have kicked
Hang
off,
on.
so make sure you get your questions into us and we'll keep fielding them to these guys in the studio. Will's going to endeavour to get them all answered, all of them, every single one. How close are you to your laptop, mate? Absolutely frightening.
Yeah, I've got my eyes are really small, so I have to go in quite there.
Is that an early corner for Tottenham? I'm going to come to you for all the Tottenham action, Alan, and to you for the Liverpool action, Emil. Dele Alli winning a corner very early doors. That's what we like to see.
But this is what I'm talking about. Look at the space down both sides. Both fullbacks, Alexander-Arnold and Robertson up high. Dele played in behind and then winning a corner. So it looks like a tactic that they're going to deploy throughout the whole game, is try and get down the sides.
Tanganga, come on.
Tanganga's playing right side, isn't he? So he's playing.
He's not even gone up for that.
All right, so...
All team Tanganga today.
Yeah.
Well, you know what that means. He must be quick if he's sitting at
Oh,
the back.
my goodness. That was a dangerous ball played back across the box. Talking of dangerous, well, we got any dangerous questions?
Yeah. Go on, Bobby.
Oh, I love it, sir. Go on. Oh,
Tanganga.
was that Tanganga? Come on, Tanganga off the line. Team Tanganga. Get your hashtag Team Tanganga in the comments below.
That's why he started. That's why he started.
Explain this attacking situation to me, Emil.
Yeah, great run by Firmino. You know, when he gets into the box like that, is a great. To be fair, is a great block. But
Does he get a
Tanganga's on fire.
he's
on
the
fire.
What a legend, the young 20-year-old in his first Premier League start, keeping Tottenham in it after 2 minutes.
Wow.
Firmino,
to be sky high.
little Cruyff turn in the box and got his shot away. But like Emil said, he's got off to a positive start now, Dougie. You know, what will that do for his confidence?
Yeah, absolutely massive. He must have looked at that team sheet today, seen what he's up against, and as Emil said earlier, just wanted to start really well. Clearance off the line in 2 minutes into your Premier League debut. Take it. Incredible.
Should he be England captain, guys, or are we getting ahead of ourselves there a little bit?
Gareth Southgate's got to be having a serious look at him.
He's a Gareth Southgate sort of player.
Emil. 4-4-2.
Why are they? Robertson playing right back.
Were you just observing Tottenham's formation there?
Yeah.
What do you think, Alan?
It looked like they were going 4-4-2 there for a minute.
Is that Joe?
No, it's three at the back, but actually it might be. But Aurier
on the right.
Right wing.
All right, the guys
Coming
in,
back
in the
into a
studio
five.
figuring out the formation for you. That is exactly what they're here for.
Oh, he did it again! Oh my God!
Me and Will still talking about
Get the
Tanganga.
Ballon d'Or out now.
I mean, the hashtag was pray for Tanganga before the game, and now it's Team Tanganga. So everyone send him that positive energy. What they're saying in the comments, Will. We've got a few questions then to start the show.
Yeah, it's very much Team Tanganga here. We're all Team Tanganga. But back to the serious stuff. Do we
Playing
think?
left back. Right back.
They've swapped over a little bit, haven't they?
Yeah.
With Trent and
Robertson.
do we think Jose bringing in? Do you think Daniel Levy's been justified in his sacking of Maurizio Pochettino?
I think as a manager, you're kind of judged by what you're winning, aren't you? So at some stage you've got to win something. I know he came in and changed everything around, and they're starting looking like a forward-thinking team, and the style of play was really good. But at some stage you've got to win something, and if you don't, and you keep going, the further you keep going, not winning something, people are saying, well, what's the point? Especially if you're not actually going anywhere with that. So if you're coming up to second in the league, or you're actually really challenging for the league, then people might not have a go at you. But when you're not winning anything, they're like, well, what's the point?
So you see the rationale there then. Alan, he was of course backed in the transfer market. Lo Celso, Ndombele. Christian Eriksen flashing a shot past the post there. So he was obviously backing Pochettino in the summer. Maybe not to the extent he needed. That's a different question. But do you think they've got enough at their disposal to be finishing convincingly in the top 4 here?
Top 4, it's going to be difficult, I think. Like you said, they did back him and they brought in signings, so they obviously seen him. He was the man to take the team forward at the time. But sometimes I think after 4 or 5 years with relatively the same group doing the same thing, like I heard the training used to be really hard. They were there for a long time working on things. Sometimes as a player it gets it's just constant, always just the same thing, and sometimes you need a little change. And I think that's why when they went in a dip of form, they decided, look, we need a change here, and ultimately he did lose his job.
Do you think in many ways then it was almost one last go at the sort of Pochettino era, spending that amount of money, and then when it didn't work,
exactly,
time to move on?
Obviously you have to back your manager, and they did. See if he could change it in that season, and it didn't work out for the back end of last season. Going into this season, it just wasn't great, so they obviously decided that they had to make a change, and the earlier the better, really. So
yeah, the thing is, when you get to that point, is how long do you give him? Do you keep giving him? At some stage, you know that you've got to call it quits, but
just looked as if it got a little bit stale after a while, and sometimes you
do get that sometimes, don't you? So at clubs that, you know, the managers, no matter what the manager does, it can't pull you out of that little funk you're in.
Yeah, I mean, 7 years by modern standards is a dynasty now, isn't it?
That's a long time.
And of course, you over on Euro Football Daily been sounding out transfer targets for the likes of Bayern, Real, Barcelona. But who would you say that Tottenham need then?
Well, they've been linked quite heavily with Christoph Piontek, the AC Milan striker, which is quite a strange move. It probably would have made more sense last January when he was absolutely flying at Genoa. Then went to AC Milan, did very well, but he's actually had quite a slow start to the year. At AC Milan. AC Milan really struggling. I think they're down in 12th in Serie A.
Well then?
But they have just signed Ibrahimovic, so potentially there might be an outgoing there. But we've got that's two good efforts for
Alan, how did that attack fizzle out like that?
That's what I'm saying. They're just hitting them in the break. They're sitting in, defending well, and then when it's an opportunity like this, Henderson on the ball, Son's on him in a flash, and I think that's the way they're going to play. There's big gaps in behind them, and they're getting efforts out of it. Obviously, Mourinho, he's worked on this. This is the plan. And you can see it in full effect. They're doing really well at the moment.
As brilliant as Henderson's been, I suppose no one's really, across the league, maybe Fernandinho, as adept at guarding that back for as much as Fabinho. So do you think that might be part of Jose's thinking, that, you know, if they win the ball in that area, it's on? Yeah,
definitely. It's the pace of the front two. They'll create chances. These front two will 100% create chances. And the thing is, you've got to take the chances.
Tanganga conceded a foul.
A good foul.
Sell the merch. I'm out. Never rated him.
Right, what's going on in the comments, Will?
Yeah, lots going on. Just back to that chat about Jose. Obviously, he's in now, but there was a chat on Friday Night Football last night with Gary and Jamie talking about, obviously, Jose can get the results, but will Spurs fans accept his style of football? Because we talk about the Pep effect, not just affecting the Premier League Championship now. Is it more than just results, Alan?
I think this was the chat when they first came in about the way he played football and how he'd like to defend. That's how he sets his team up. But let's face it, he's not exactly done that. They've conceded 19 goals or whatever in his games, so they are still playing attacking football. I think as long as he wins something, that the fans will ultimately be happy. I mean, I think you can tell with his team that he played against Middlesbrough the other day that it was full strength.
Yeah.
He's going out to win something, he wants something, and I think as soon as they get that off their back, that I think the fans will be happy.
What about you, Emma?
Yeah, I think so. At the end of the day, if you go and win something, at least that gives you a little bit of stay of execution. Yeah. You know, everyone's worried about the style of football that he's going to play. A lot of people are even worried about whether he's going to use the youth over or experienced players.
Yeah.
You know, so if he goes and wins something, that puts people at bay a little bit.
Tanganga, by the way, on throw-ins there. It's like, I think he did javelin at high school. That went absolutely miles. Oh! Mo Salah almost putting in Sadio Mane there with a lovely little dink into the box. Doogie,
Hello.
we talk about, I know that you love Pochettino as well as I, and keep touting him for Manchester United. I think if he's available, they should go and get him. However, I digress. Do you, like me, feel it's a little bit sad that, someone who can progress the football club as much as he did at Tottenham still be a job?
I don't know. I feel like true Spurs fans will never see him as a failure, and I think that will matter the most to him. I think it's football Twitter that will be like, well, what did he win?
Yeah.
And football Twitter generally needs to be ignored. So, I mean, they finished like 4 times. I think it was 3 times in the previous 25 years they'd finished in the top 4. He did it 4 times in 5 years. Got them to a Champions League final. And yeah, like Alan quite rightly said, I think things did go slightly stale, but he couldn't buy players for 18 months. He couldn't sell players, more crucially. I think a lot of players needed to be moved on and reinvested in the squad. But I think he'll always be remembered as a sort of Spurs, well, not quite legend status, but their best manager of recent years, probably since Bill Nicholson, and his winning percentage reflects that as well. So I think he deserves a lot of credit, but their form under him was sort of relegation. I think they'd got 25 points from the last 24 games.
It was from January before, wasn't it?
Exactly, and they hadn't won away since that January. It was time to go, but definitely needs massive respect for the job he did there.
Yeah, and where do you see him pitching up then? Because, of course, Hansi Flick now has the job at Bayern until the end of the season, but do you see him going there come the summer?
That feels like a really sensible move for them. I think Pochettino would be a great fit there, but it really depends how Flick does. I think if he wins the league, does pretty well in the Champions League, they might be sort of determined to give him the job there. But there's going to be quite a few managers that'll be on the the high up people's priorities in the summer. Allegri's also taking a year off. He'll be on the market too. So I think, realistically, my personal opinion, Man United should get rid of Ole and bring in Pochettino, because in the next 5 years, I just think they've got a far better chance of succeeding with Pochettino at the helm than Ole, if I'm totally honest.
I'd be inclined to agree. Just to visit the game very quickly, Liverpool pressing Tottenham to submission here, Emil.
Yeah, they are. This is what they do. Get the ball down wide. Robertson crossing the ball in wasn't the best of crosses, to be honest, but and putting the pressure on that way.
I'm hearing in my ear from the Chore Dog in the gallery, it's 80-20 in terms of possession for Liverpool at the moment. So, despite Tottenham being a home side, it is all very...
That's a ball.
Here we go.
That's a
Hello, Dele Alli. He's blazed it over.
I think it's a corner.
Alan, what's happened there?
They're just soaking up all the pressure, and then they've done this a few times under Mourinho, this long ball, and scored goals off it.
Alderweireld.
Yeah, this isn't the first time they've done it. It should be a corner.
That's actually a great block from Trent Alexander-Arnold.
Handball.
VAR.
Boo! Emil's going to leave the studio if it happens again.
On his birthday, he's off.
VAR ruined his birthday.
Yeah, they've used this route a number of times now under Mourinho. They're not scared to go from back to front, and it works. Again, with the pace up front, it does work. They've done it before, as we just mentioned there, Alderweireld and stuff. So it looks like this is the way forward for them. That they are under pressure. Obviously, you just said 80-20 possession, but I think this is going to be the way for them to work.
I think that's a set thing, isn't it? They as soon as Alderweireld gets the ball, they just go. They make them runs, don't they? And
that's part. It must be part of the plan he's put in, because Pochettino has loved keeping the ball and passing and all very pretty. But I think Mourinho's come in and says, look, don't be scared to hit the number 9 or the striker in the space. So,
well, ironically, Liverpool have enjoyed a lot of success from that recently, haven't they? With Dejan Lovren's balls over the top, so they've switched it up as well. Might be seeing a return to direct football. Pulis ball,
big number 9,
spreading across the Premier League. Yeah, but Liverpool are putting together some lovely combinations here, aren't they? Will, what are they making in the comments of the first 15 minutes then?
Yeah, just lots. I mean, there's some absolutely fantastic hashtags flying around. Team Tanganga or hashtag Tanganga Gang is my favourite.
Yes,
if anyone's shrewd enough now, that'll be on a little T-shirt there, getting them printed. 100. Can we get them done, Chordo? No, we can't. Speaking of Harry Kane's injury, with my England hat on, a lot of talk today about Jamie Vardy. Obviously, he's ruled himself out so far, but could he be the main man come Euros?
I think it's an option, to be honest with you. You need several options, don't you? You don't want anything that's just there's been times where we've gone into tournaments and all the players have more or less been the same.
Yeah.
So when you actually have different, I think Ings is definitely one because he's a box, someone that fox in the box that can
A
actually
poacher.
yes. And Jamie Vardy's someone who I think different at times, and I think they are definitely options. I don't know if he's put himself back in the hat.
I wonder if like the manager came to him and said, "Look, you're going to play," that would swing you. But
You're my starting striker.
Yeah, if you're Vardy and you're thinking, right, I'm giving it up, but your country comes calling and says, "Look, you're going to play."
Yeah. I suppose it's one thing to be included in the squad and travel, right? And
so if you want to be
promised
included,
game
you might not play. Right, well, I'm not going to go then because I said I'm retiring. But if he says, "Look, you're going to get game time," I promise you.
Well, he's not officially retired, has he? They've sort of left the door open if that situation was to arise. And we've discussed this before. You've kind of been in a situation yourself where you maybe thought time was up on your England career and you were drafted into the squad after a bit of an absence. How was it coming back after a long time?
It was fine. It was fine. It was obviously I've been in and around the national teams from 16 up to the full squad. So I've been around it, knew what it was all about, and to have an absence for 4 years and then come back wasn't a major problem. The funny thing was when I got the call, I was going to hang up on Steve McLaren. No, because he'll tell you get. Oh, here we go.
I've had it before. I'll tell you.
Yeah, you have players that prank call you.
Really?
Yeah.
Who was the worst for it?
There's loads.
Want me to tell you the worst for us? Snodgrass. Honestly, do not. Yeah, I can't trust him at all. At all.
Well, what's he done in the past? How's he burnt that bridge, Alan?
So we used to meet up with the Scotland national team, and he'd be like, right, who should we prank? And he would just pick random people. Anybody, it could be anybody, and he would like phone somebody up, one of his pals, that Scottish guy, say up in Scotland somewhere, and he'd be like, "Hi, such and such from Scotland. Just to let you know, you've been drafted into the squad." And he'd be like, you could hear him in the back, "Oh, you're joking, ever?" "Yeah, you've been drafted into the squad, right? Well, what you do is, so you need to wear your suit. So we need to get you measured. What size of suit are you? Are you a medium or what? Are you a large? What are you?" And he'd be like, "I think a large would be all right. A large would be fine." And then it would be, "What tie size are you?" And he'd be like,
so he went down to the granular to really trick him.
What tie size are you? And he'd be like, "I'm not too sure."
The ties even have a size?
He says, "Well, you must have a tie up the stairs." And he'd be like, "Yeah." He says, "Well, go and check it, see what size it is." Honestly, to that level. So I used to have, I think it was, who was it phoned me? It was when...
Mo Salah nearly sneaking in there. Just before that, Davinson Sanchez, excellent piece of defending from him, but it's all Liverpool still. But we still want to know who was at the other end of that phone, Alan.
That's the prankster.
Oh, he's
maybe it was Karma then that disallowed his goal, not VAR.
He used to do it constantly. I got a phone call and I thought it was him pretending to be Gordon Strachan's number 2, saying that I could turn up late because I wasn't going to play in the first game, which I was getting rested, and I was like, "Yeah, all right, good lad." I put the phone down, but it was him. So I was like, "Oh no." I thought it was Snodgrass.
Do the Scottish setup now have to say, "Listen, it's not Robert"?
It's not him.
Yeah.
Trust
have
me.
to do FaceTimes now, don't they?
He's now retired from Scotland, isn't he?
Yeah. Great guy.
Everyone's safe
now.
then.
He's brilliant.
Ooh, Jordan Henderson there looking for the run of Mane. It's still all Liverpool. We're seeing a lot of the wing-backs, as per usual. Trent Alexander-Arnold coming in on the inside there to try and cause havoc with that delivery. Talking havoc, is it still havoc in the comments, Will?
A bit subdued in the comments so far. I think that's because of the lack of action, but lots of questions still coming in for our two wonderful guests. Virgil van Dijk, obviously he's a prominent force at the back, but he's had a few different centre-back pairings. Who do you both think is the number one choice?
Great question.
I think this choice now, to be honest with you, I think going forward, because you've got Gomez, who's a young lad.
Yeah.
He's played right back, but I prefer him at centre back.
Yeah.
I prefer. I think he's good on the ball as well. He commands his area, and he gets a lot out of working alongside Virgil.
Yeah. What about you, Alan?
Yeah, Matip, don't get me wrong, has done really well. Obviously, Gomez has had to wait. He's been out injured or whatever. But coming in, like Emil says, he's done fantastically well, and I think he's got all the attributes needed to be a top centre half and to play alongside Van Dijk. kind of big brother, if you want,
Yeah,
looking after them,
learn.
helping them through learning. Yep, and I think he'll really go from strength to strength. I think that could be the pairing going forward.
How, especially for you, Alan, as looking over to your left as it was as a right back, just seeing a force like Virgil van Dijk, how much confidence does that give you?
Oh, it's brimming with confidence, because I would know that I can go forward and he can deal with whatever's in there.
Yeah.
I think that's what gives licence to the full-backs for Liverpool now. They know when they go forward that you've got the two centre-halves that you can trust, they can mop up, they're quick, they can, no problem with
to play next to. Who made you feel like that? Who made you feel secure, Alan?
I've played with a few good ones, to be honest. Ledley King.
Yeah.
He always gets a mention on this show.
Honestly, like, until I played with him, I never knew he was that good. Unbelievable. If he never had a knee problem, he could have played with Barcelona and MD. Right foot, left foot, strong, quick. Yeah, when you're looking over your shoulder and you see him, even like the likes of Woodgate and stuff, the reading of the game, didn't have to be quick because he was always there. So
go on, Doug.
Sorry, was it quite difficult as a defence? Because obviously he wasn't able to train that much. Was it quite difficult as a defender, doing all week with another centre-back in his place, and then come match day, you suddenly got Ledley King?
Yeah, I think it was also difficult for the other centre-halves. I remember at Tottenham when I was there, it was Michael Dawson at the time. So he would train all week and would set up and do the team, and he'd be in the team. But the manager would be waiting to see if Ledley King was fit enough, and you would give him to the last minute. So it was obviously difficult for them. But you knew with Ledley King playing, he used to come in and get man of the match and not train all week.
Yeah.
That's how good he was. So like you knew he would be on point, like when he was called on.
Absolute P-roller there from Christian Eriksen, collected very calmly by Alisson, and they're on the attack again. Did it take? You say you didn't know until you played with him. So did it take until sort of a match day scenario to appreciate how good he was, because you never saw him in training?
Yeah, just little things like left foot, right foot, how composed and calm he was. The ball's coming. He didn't actually know what foot he hit the ball with.
Right.
So if you say to me, what foot are you? I'm saying I'm right-footed. You'd say to him, what foot are you? And go, I can use both. Fair play, well done. Like little things like that. You don't see that. Like if you're just watching a game here now, you wouldn't know that. So it was the little things that I seen throughout the time. But
Flash of that with James Maddison the other day against Newcastle, wasn't it, when he scored that goal with his left foot? And it looked like his natural foot. But he is, of course, right-footed. An out-swinging corner for Liverpool, sorry. Mo Salah.
Hello! Van Dijk!
What a save!
That is a great save.
What's happened there, Emil?
It's not a good save. It's a bad header.
He's disagreeing.
I think it was Henderson lofted the ball back across. Van Dijk, the far post, powered it, but good save. We'll say a good save.
I mean, I'd back you to know a good header or not when you see
That's a yellow.
I think at the far post, when you've got the whole goal to aim at, and you're actually free. You're not actually up against another person trying to stop you from heading it. You're free header.
Yeah, there was three queuing up.
Exactly.
Maybe the only excuse you can give him there is he wasn't coming onto it, was he? He was sort of in a standing position,
still,
had to generate a little bit of power with his head, went straight to the keeper. But a sort of
clumsy
challenge by Gomez on Son there, but quite a fortunate clearance, really. Could have got out for a throw-in, but Son's pace found it, and now Tottenham with a free kick in a good position.
Would he have been offside?
Yeah, I think the goal would have ruled it out. It's just as well we didn't go to VAR. Emil would have been gone, wouldn't they? Yeah. So,
Emil definitely right as well. Not a particularly good header anyway.
No, wasn't.
Right.
Looking from Gomez, he's eggshells now, especially against Son and
the way they're playing
running at you.
into the channels, pace, Son's pace, run after it. This is what they're looking to do.
And what a tough job for Gomez when Alexander-Arnold is your fullback. Did you ever, well, I suppose with Ledley King, you could have just bombed on in it.
To be fair, I'm sure that there's probably centre halves that's played alongside me that thought, oh no, he's just going to go. I've had it millions of times. Remember?
Yeah, but you say that they should be doing their job anyway. That's not your job to.
But you know what it's like. Sometimes centre halves feel like come in, come be beside me. Let's be nice and
come and make me easy.
Yeah,
come make my job easy.
So there's two sides of it. Like you do get centre halves. I'm not going to name names before you ask or anything. But there is players.
I'd be doing my job if I didn't.
There is players I've played with throughout my career that have been like, Alan, come in,
and their name rhymes with. All right, fair enough. Oh, hello.
Aurier.
Sergio in the box.
Oh, it's too much too soon.
Guessing there with a little flick, and Liverpool managed to clear it. What part of the game did you enjoy the most? You know, where it got a little bit attritional, where you could put a big tackle in, or where you were just bombing on and scoring, you know, slaloming through the Villa defence, the Birmingham defence.
Oh, that was once in a blue moon. I didn't score too many in my career. I always favoured going forward. If there was one weakness in my game, it would be the defending part. I was pretty much too eager to go forward.
You were very solid.
No, I liked tackling and things like that, but sometimes I was out of position because I was too eager to get forward. That was probably my one downfall looking back. So
that was left-footed, the one against us, though, wasn't it? You say you're only right-footed, mate. It was a very tortured left-foot finish.
Yeah, pretty much just took a swing at it. Just
swinging.
Love the honesty. Love the honesty.
So.
We'll revisit some more moments in your career later on. Very keen to ask you about that loan spell in Mallorca.
Yeah, very good.
I know you enjoyed it. You said off camera. We got any other comments then to keep us ticking over?
Yes, gents. Christian Eriksen, obviously, has been the rumours there's a bit of disharmony there at the club. He wants to leave. But have you ever been in situations when you've been at clubs where players have tried to force moves, and how's that affected the dressing room? Tell me about Robbie Savage.
Oh yeah, Sav was just Sav, and you can't be mad at Sav.
Well, even after
you can't be mad.
You tell Chris.
He said he wanted to move closer to home, and it was further away.
Yeah, it was only by 2 miles though, wasn't it?
You're happy, Emil?
No, he was. You know what Sav's like? He's stupid. No, you can't be mad at Sav. He'd come to a situation where he was in demand. And he was doing well. He was doing exactly what we needed him at the time to do. So people were looking at him, and you've got to go. And I just think that the way that he left probably didn't sit well with people. But you should allow him to go.
What about you, Anna? Was there anyone? I mean, you don't have to name names. But
I won't name names, but I've seen it all before. Desperate to get a move, January time, out in training, kicking balls away.
Just being like very disruptive.
Yeah. If you're going to keep me, this is what I'm going to do type thing.
How much does it affect the rest of the squad, or do they just think, OK, this is business, it's not personal?
I think, you have to kind of take it like that, but it depends what the player's like within the squad. Is he a big player? Is he a fringe player? Or where is he kind of in the terms of the squad? So that determines how you feel about it kind of thing.
Does it depend on the situation as well? Because, I mean, if you're flying high,
if you're down the bottom and you need that player and they're desperate to leave, it's kind of like it's a kick in the teeth for yourself. You're saying, why you not want to help us type thing. So it can be difficult. There's a whole host of situations.
And as well, where does he sit within the change rooms? Is he disrupting is he got a group that's disrupting everything? Because you get that. You get that.
I've had that at Aston Villa.
Yeah, we had
the year we went down, we had the cliques, and it was horrible to be within. You could feel the tension, and that's in the squad. Obviously, the fans can't see that, and they don't know what's going on. They just, you're playing terrible type thing. But
how do you, as a player, when those are sort of developing, how do you get rid of that? Is that the manager's job? Is it players in the dressing room?
It comes down to the managers. I remember Di Matteo when he took over. I think that must have been was our first year in the Championship. And he tried to sort out the kind of cliques, and he pulled a few of us to the side, and he was saying, look, you need to get more involved and you need to do this and that. So we were like, no problem. So we tried to get involved and split up the seating plan and sit in between everybody and stuff like that. But the end up, it was just boys were just taking seats. So if I had taken a space up, they would take that seat and go and join their pal again.
That feels very
petty. And it's like, I've tried, there's nothing more I can do.
So when it becomes a cultural thing, it's more difficult to eradicate.
Yeah, of course.
And you need a strong voice, I guess, to come in. Do you think that was part of the thinking with Jose Mourinho? Let's bring in a guy who's bigger than some of these.
Demand respect when you go in there as a manager. And you look at the likes of Brendan Rodgers, what he's gone into Liverpool, he's gone into Swansea as a young coach as well.
And Celtic, Emil, come on,
Celtic,
mate.
Celtic. Give me a chance.
Done all right.
At Celtic as well, going into their big teams and basically having to stamp his authority, but doing it in the right way.
Yeah.
And getting the players on your side. Because at every club you'll have a clique and you'll have the powerful players. And it's getting them on your side.
What? Have you ever been in a situation where a new manager has come in and done completely the wrong thing for that squad? I'm thinking,
Oh my God.
ooh, Alisson there, very far out of his box, managing to clear his lines, but Liverpool playing with fire a little bit, but they've wanted to throw in deep in the Spurs half as a result of Mane's pressure. Sorry, going back to the question, like how important is those first couple of weeks for that new manager to really win over the squad?
Well, it's very important, and it's very daunting for him as well, because you don't know the clicks. You don't know what's going on. You're going in there kind of blind, and you're trying to think. You can only tell by what you see on the television or you see from the way they play. So you've got a little image of how it goes, but when you go in, it might be totally different. There might be someone else that's actually running everything within the club, one of the other players. So you're trying to get them all on your side, and you've got to have tactics and plans. I think Gary Neville spoke about it, about his time at Valencia, how he needed to get rid of 3 or 4 and he chose not to. And they were just disruptive within the squad.
I think a good manager can spot it.
Yeah.
A good manager goes in and you can tell that walking out to training, it's the same boys with each other, same boys sitting at lunch. You can tell, if you look close enough, you can see it.
It must get tiresome if you're not one of those players, right?
What if you're not?
If you're not in the clique and you're just, acting accordingly for the good of the team.
See, I like to think that whenever I was in the change room or whatever, I like just to talk to everyone. I don't really like to just be
mingle
stuck
with
with
everyone.
one person.
Yeah, because you know what football's like. People move on and all the rest of it. I just like to have a laugh with everyone.
Friendly with everyone, yeah.
Exactly. And see, the thing is, it ends up working out better because all their teammates will end up running through brick walls for you. I find, because you're friendly with them all. Where if you're just like a couple and you're can't be bothered with that or this, and in the long run it helps the team. And there's teams out there that you can look at, Sheffield United, all them. I bet you they're all get on with each other. They're, like I said, run through brick walls for each other.
Yeah.
That's what you get.
And that comes from Chris Wilder, right?
Well, we had it at Leicester when we was at Leicester. We were out all together. We'd go and eat together.
With Martin, I know
Yeah,
that was.
we'd all go and eat together. We'd all go out together. He'd take us all away together. So everything was.
Fosters are together now.
Yeah.
You said to me that the older professionals were very good with you coming through as well, which might not have been the case, you're back in the day.
Well,
how do they make life easy for you
just basically getting me involved in everything and keeping me by their side, and they were good. Some I've heard some. They were just horrible to them. And then there's a knock-on effect for that, because they're horrible to the next generation, who's horrible to the next one. They were all good with me, no problem at all. Even now they text me, we've got a group chat. And
takes some strong personalities to break a tradition like that. I imagine if you were slightly bullied when you first went into the
I'd have probably done the same, wouldn't I?
Yeah.
And that was part and parcel of our initiations and stuff like that, but I never had that. Yeah. They never gave me that. I was 17 now. They'd have probably got locked up.
What culture and what culture and setup do you see now in the Premier League that you'd like to be a part of? You Sheffield United, that's a really good example. No doubt that comes from Wilder.
Yeah, just from the outside looking in, a team like that is basically, I think, what Emil's saying. They do everything together. I bet you they are like really close knit. They're always doing whatever it may be, whether it be meals, and it genuinely shows on the pitch. And I think that's what you're seeing with them. They'll do anything for each other. I think sometimes when teams are not doing so well or a little bit cliquey or whatever, you can tell on the pitch that it's sectioned off. So yeah, Sheffield I think's a prime contender.
They've had the benefit of a lot of success in lower divisions together as well. Coming up from League One, coming up from the Championship, success breeds a real collectiveness, I imagine.
Don't worry, Tanganga back on the pitch.
Yeah, I was just
now,
saying, honestly.
Tanganga, do not worry, he's back.
He's robbed Mane, dribbled forward, and then Mane's fouled him. It's an absolute world-class performance, Alan. That's a right.
Oh, totally. I tell you what, there's not many people that will take the ball off him like that and then run away from him.
Is this what we're talking about before? I mean, we were worried, is he going to be confident? Is he not going to be confident? I mean, this guy, the real deal, isn't he?
He's showing the confidence.
See what you said, Emil, about the first minute?
Yeah.
When the block on the line, I bet you right away was thinking,
One of them.
settle me down.
Yeah, this is my
Feels
day.
bulletproof now, yeah.
Having this today.
Well, shooing for the golden boy then, apparently. If you've not had a question answered yet, then get in the comments below. And if you're just tuning in now for the first time, hello, welcome to the Football Social.
Oh, what a
Subscribe to
turn.
Football Daily and Soccer AM. Mo Salah. Oh. And guess who clears? That man Tanganga, but it's fallen straight to
Definitely is that like what, 4-4-2 almost?
It's 4-4-2, but then Aurier comes back very quickly and makes it a 5.
When it needs to be.
I think they're trying to get them into positions like this and then win the ball and then hit them long into the
Alisson's
space.
like,
pace-
his
the
average
pace of
position's
them
there,
is-
isn't it?
That's a thing that always happens, right? That we won't have that knowledge on. You work on a shape, in and out of possession.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the Peps of the world, Mourinho, these are the guys that always come up with the...
Go on. We'll come back to it. Oh! Sadio Mane narrowly over. What happened there? Another delicious build-up.
Yeah, a nice bit of play, getting Firmino down the side, crossing to Sadio Mane on his weaker foot. Didn't quite get the good connection on his left foot into the ground and over. He'd be disappointed he didn't get that on target though.
Yeah, hit it into the ground, but like Emil said, not enough purchase on it.
Sure what that was.
How much would you like to have played for Jurgen Klopp?
Yeah, I really love to have played with him. Played for him, to be honest. He seems to breed confidence in everyone. You look at the young lads, you look at the senior pros. Everyone seems to love him. Everyone seems to be loving playing with him. He's there hugging everyone. And that's what you need as a manager at times. Years ago, it was one plan fits all. Everyone just get battered. No, it was I'd just batter you, I'd batter you, batter you,
totally.
and you just have to go out and deal with it. But you don't know how each individual deals with
Martin
that.
O'Neill, the old
Mine wasn't that bad.
Really?
There's certain players that do well after being shouted at, but there's certain players that will crumble.
They won't. You might as well take them off after that.
Yeah.
What did you prefer, Alan?
Everybody wants to be loved, but there was times where a rollicking did help me because I was like, right, well, I'll show you type thing.
Oh, goal!
What a finish!
Emil, break it down for us.
Yeah, we was talking, so I didn't see it.
Firmino with his left foot powering it into net.
I saw the great touch from him, to be honest.
On the left.
It has been coming.
It has been coming.
What a finish. And he's really picked up recently. I think he had one in his previous 16 before the last 5 games, where he, of course, has 4 goals. He misses it first, a little flick, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think Salah playing it into him. Great touch.
Tanganga's been done.
For the first time this game.
I don't think we can blame him.
I'll get him off. Jose's got to look at him and say, it's time to go.
Look at that. It's the leave there. Oh.
He does
side netting as well.
Well, if you look at how many players Liverpool...
He's tried to nick in and just nick it away, but I mean, against a player like that who's so clever.
What a Wiley, isn't he?
Yeah.
What a finish.
Oh, that's like... When it's side netting, it's like...
And you look how many players that Liverpool have in the box as well.
Oh, we've seen something in the build-up?
No.
That was just Jordan Henderson and Dele Alli contesting for the
See
ball.
there.
Mo Salah out to Firmino, and what a touch with his left foot. Absolutely obscene.
Are they looking at something?
Go on.
Or are they looking at...
It didn't hamper the celebration either, which we like to see. It's an early birthday present for Emil Heskey. It's 1-0 to Liverpool. Commiserations.
It's terrible for the game,
Alan,
VAR, but
hold on.
for content.
They are checking for a possible handball.
What on?
By who?
Jordan.
What, when he gets smashed into by Dele Alli?
If that is given...
How could this possibly handball?
No, he didn't touch it,
No, he didn't. Checking for everything, yeah.
Could be, though.
Would that... Does that fall under the... Does that fall under clear and obvious? Why are we contesting?
Well, this is the thing that annoys me. Like, why did we even look at that? Like, why is
Well,
everybody
like you're
just
saying,
waiting?
is it clear and obvious? No, I'm not having this.
You were cutting himself short there before he went on an absolute tirade. Yeah, fair enough. Well, thank goodness it hasn't been disallowed. And hello, all the Liverpool fans that have just joined us on the stream. Get your comments in the comment section below. We'll be asking the guys the best ones, and subscribe if you're not subscribed to Soccer AM and Football Daily. Well,
yeah,
over to you.
Always look out for my brothers. One here from Mattel says Dougie should be getting a pay rise. So listen in to the bosses there. That's just Mattel. Is he a relative of yours?
Thanks,
there,
Mattel. I don't know Mattel, but...
Mattel Critchley, is he a relative of yours?
Yeah, Italian cousin.
But lots of questions coming in thick and fast. we were talking about tactics earlier on.
First pay rise, by the way, demanded live on the Football Social.
By Mattel.
On behalf
Of Doogie.
Love you, Mattel.
Love that.
You've got to say what you see. But De Bruyne was speaking about they only spent 15 minutes on tactics before that Manchester United game. With a system like that, is that true, or is he just digging a little bit deeper?
You know, with the likes of Man City, do you need tactics with that sort of players?
I think when you're at that level, it might only take 15 minutes. I'm playing with a false nine. I want you to move here. When that happens, these boys take it.
Yeah, they take it to another level.
Yeah.
You don't really need that much tactics. You just need to know defensively where you're going to be. And then you just make sure you move around and interchange.
I'm sure it took De Bruyne 15 minutes as well. There might have been other people in the squad that had to revisit it, but he's such a smart footballer, isn't he? You see it in the documentaries behind the scenes. You see him talking about Manchester City's tactics, and he just gets it, doesn't he? He enacts Pep's game plan on the pitch.
Is that because the philosophy's so strong? So then on the flip side of that, if Ole's trying to introduce something similar at United for that, I mean, that's not a 15-minute job, is it? That could be a...
No, this takes time.
Yeah.
Like you're talking about Solskjaer, I don't think for 1 minute he could just come in and just decide, oh, we're just going to play this way and hope that everybody would know. I think Pep, you understand the way he wants to play football, and he's got every player's clever, really. They know their job, they know what they have to do, like you're saying, in and out of possession, and whether it makes a little...
Really, it goes throughout the system. So when you see Phil Foden coming in, and it just looks like it's natural to him, but he's been playing that way.
In the reserves, yeah.
Yeah, he's been playing that way. So from whenever he was there, but we'll take it from the 18s, all the all from 16 to 18. So all the under 18s, and then your 23s. So you'll be playing all that way. So you'll just go into, you're just slotting in a hole
That should be the way
jigsaw.
It goes. It should go from the young kids all the way up. So if you get called on to play in the first team, you know exactly what's been asked of you without even having to tell you.
Is that why England have sort of benefited over the last 2 to 3 years, with Gareth obviously being lower down?
He will have understood what players are coming through, what they're capable of doing, because he's been in and around that system for a long time. So and then bringing them in at a young age would have helped them to understand the levels. Because I remember I was speaking to someone recently when I went from Leicester under 16, and then I joined England under 16, and the levels just went like that. And you're like, oh, okay, I thought I was good. And, but you have to step it up. But when you come with the full team, like Maddison coming from the 21s up into the full team, it's like, okay, I need to step that level up, but you just bleed them in like that.
Yeah, I mean, just going back to the Manchester United topic, and we might have a bigger debate about this at half-time, but worth touching upon it, given Liverpool are Mo Salah's in here.
What strength.
Oh, he's down.
And it's almost 2-0. It flashes past
So strong.
Gazaniga's left-hand post.
Sanchez.
Liverpool are in absolute cruise control. Sanchez completely wrong-footed and then completely buoyed off the ball.
He doesn't look that
by
strong.
Mo Salah.
He just must be very squat and powerful.
He's just on
Powerful,
the ball as
isn't he?
well.
Stocky, isn't he? So he just got that
strong legs.
He's like Aguero, isn't he?
Yeah.
Knows how to use his body so well, seemingly.
Absolutely rooted to the ground. We talked about Solskjaer very briefly there, saying that he might not have had enough time to enact a clear philosophy or a tactical blueprint, but he has been there for quite some time now. And do you think Manchester United are progressing as much as they should? Because, I mean, Manchester City, it was a foregone conclusion after 30 minutes, wasn't it? I think only the second time, or the first time in a tremendous amount of years that they've conceded 3 goals in the first half at Old Trafford in the Premier League. They're still hovering around 5th, 6th, aren't they? Of course, convincing victory today. But do you think he can take them back to those levels, Solskjaer?
I think you have to have the players first.
Yeah.
Depending on how he sees his team. Is it a counter-attack team? Is it a possession
Yeah,
team?
what are they?
Exactly. I think that's
Should
the
it
problem.
be clear at this point, though?
Should be.
Yeah.
Are they possession-based?
I could not answer that question.
See, I think, well, they look like a counter-attacking team. See, when they played City and they hit them in the counter-attack and they looked really good.
Liverpool.
But the
Against
problem
Tottenham
is,
as well.
And they played well against Spurs.
Chelsea.
I think Man U as a team can't always play like that because they can't play like that at home. Teams will come in and sit in against them.
Well,
but
we've
how
seen
can
them
you
struggle
counter-attack a team like that.
Against teams that drop back, right, that deploy that low block. But if Manchester City or Manchester United, sorry, only look good as a team when they're playing against bigger sides that they can hit on the counter, that's problematic, right?
But the thing is, when you look at Man United and you look at City and people like that, so even Liverpool, they've always got someone who can open you up. They got Rashford.
I mean,
I think they missed the
Paul
player.
Pogba, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
To link that.
Yeah.
I think that's where they've been missing recently.
I think it'd be too harsh to say then that they should be beating the lower sides convincingly with the personnel they've got.
I think everyone fit, they'd be in a better situation.
Yeah.
If they could choose for their full squad at this moment in time, they'd be a better team.
I mean, sadly, I think their problems sort of stem from the summer, not in who they brought in. I think that actually really strengthened their defence, but in who they let go and didn't replace. Like there was no Fellaini replacement, there was no Herrera replacement, there was no Lukaku replacement. So when a few injuries strike, you're playing these really young players who, might turn out to be great, but probably aren't ready to start 15 games in a Premier League season, and their form's really suffered. I've no disrespect to Pereira, but he's no Paul Pogba.
That's true.
And, Real Madrid signed 6 players, Bayern 5, Barcelona 4. Like, these big teams strengthen year on year to that degree. And Manchester United let Lukaku go, let Alexis Sanchez go, which is, probably the right decision. He's injured again. And didn't replace them. But is there a manager out there, so we're having this debate on one of our shows, that can plug that gap, that talent gap, a little bit better than Ollie? Like, would you guys move for Pochettino, for example?
You would think so, yes. There is someone who could put in system.
Okay, so more tactically fluid.
Yes, and say this is what we are. Because still, like you're saying, we still don't know.
You don't
we
exactly
still don't know exactly what they are. But put in a positive system and say, look, this is how we're going to play, and this is what we want to do. You look at Arteta's already done it at Arsenal, and you kind of know what they want to do. We still don't quite
early
know.
on, even if he in his mind doesn't think that he's got the players right away to do it, you can still see
what he wants to do. But Ollie hasn't really done that, has he?
Yeah, I mean, they've been okay. They've been pretty sound defensively. They've obviously struggled going forward, and the absence of a creative player, which you can forgive Ollie for, right? I don't think he's the big problem. But if they don't make some signings this January, and at least one of these teams pick up Fergie, they could be finishing, well outside, no, not just the Champions League places, but contending for Europa League.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, how many top level players that do need to be brought in alongside these young players are going to want to go to Man United, having spent, is it 3 of the last 4 years outside of the Champions League?
They will always attract players, but that is the problem.
Yeah, I mean, they'll always be able to offer massive wages, but do you want players that are going there for big wages rather than the chance of success? Probably not, and they've probably been stung from it in the past. But I don't know whether the Man United situation is really going to get a lot better until they get a director of football in to oversee some of this work alongside Ed Woodward, because Ed Woodward's clearly a fantastic businessman, but I don't know whether his football now.
See, for me, Ollie talks about the project, and he's got a clear profile of player. He's brought down the average age of the squad. That's all good, right? But when you have the captain, the club captain wants to leave for Inter Milan, and you have Paul Pogba clearly does not want to be a part of whatever project is happening, isn't that quite damning for Ollie? Let's talk about maybe just on the pitch.
I mean, definitely. I think players aren't stupid. A lot of these players.
Oh my God!
A lot of the senior pros in that dressing room have worked with top managers. I mean, if you were still there when Sir Alex was there, so they know what manager they'd sort of level they'd expect. And Ollie's never really had that, except for at Mulder, relegated with Cardiff City. He's purely got this job because he's a legend of the club. Like, he hasn't got it on his own ability, and I don't think anyone can really dispute that. So I think a lot of managers would do better than Ollie, to be totally honest, because I'm not really sure what Ollie's trying to do, and I think they're wasting time, effectively, at the moment.
Okay, it sounds harsh, but Pochettino, if he's out there, maybe you have to move to get him. You were watching the last 5 minutes of that quite attentively while we were discussing Ollie. What was the end of the first half like, Will?
I mean, it was just all Liverpool. I think that was the first time that they really got a full control on it. That last 5 minutes, they were just passing it about at the back, especially using the likes of Henderson, and then just trying to pick their moments coming forward. Had a few chances, but I think it feels a lot more that Liverpool are in control of it now.
OK, just before we get a few questions then for the guys, Alan, what can be done at half-time from a Spurs perspective just to bring a bit more impetus to the side? Because like Will said, Liverpool kind of fully in control?
They are. I mean, it just depends how the manager sees it. Does he want to come out and really go for it and try and get back into the game, or is he happy just... I think he'll sit as he is.
For another 15.
Yeah, they're really looking to be tight and then hit the space, and I think they'll continue to do that for now. And then maybe the last, if they keep it to 1-0, the last maybe 20 minutes, then they'll try and push a bit forward and go for it from then.
I think Jose's happy. Will be happy ultimately that he can still do something to affect this game.
He'll be happy in a sense. He'll be disappointed that they never really threatened a bit more. Especially when they nick the ball, because that's what they're trying to do, nick the ball and then go fast break. But he'll be happy that it's 1-0, still 1-0, because it could have been worse. But yeah, you know, but he'll, like Alan said, I think he'll be looking to just stay solid again, try and hit them on the break, but then maybe push a little bit more in the last 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah, looking to get the ball to Lucas Moura a bit more, no doubt, in that space just behind Trent. A couple of questions then, Will.
Yes, Alan, making your debut on the Football Social, so I'll start with you. It's a question here from Kieran. He says, can you ask Alan, how did the Old Firm rivalry affect the Scottish national team in the so-called golden generation from about 2000 to 2010?
That's a good question. I actually wasn't too bad, if I'm honest.
No?
You did get... I don't like to say clicks, because it wasn't that bad. The boys did... Yeah, it was not too bad. I heard obviously England sometimes there's a few cliques and stuff, but no, I think the Rangers and Celtic boys more or less, yeah, were fine with each other.
Was there someone that made sure that didn't happen? Because remember, for Spain it was Piqué, it was Ramos. They tried actively to kind of have a bit of a relationship, or maybe it was Xavi and Busquets.
I think we had like the goalkeeper Al McGregor, who was just kind of off the wall, like just lots of banter, and so him from the kind of Rangers point of view, and then Scott Brown, they two were from the same area, Edinburgh, so they really got on well together, and it just made everybody kind of click together as well. So it kind of brought the two together, and we all sat and had a laugh and a joke, and yeah, there was nothing over the years that I was always there. It was always kind of plain sailing between the two teams.
Nice. I think it might have been Casillas and Piqué, actually, you know, just to go back on that if anyone actually cares. More questions on Scottish football. That's exactly what we want. I've been waiting about 75 episodes for this, Alan, so thank you very much, mate.
Yeah, well, what are some of your favourite memories, not just for the Scottish national team as well, but your time at Rangers?
Favourite memories? I mean, obviously making my debut I was quite young at the time against Partick Thistle. It's my boyhood team to come through, and to be so young and make your debut for the team that you support is obviously unbelievable. But any Old Firm game, really, to be honest, like that was a be all and end all.
What was that first one like? Is like walking out? Was it home or away for you for the first one?
I think it was away. I'm not 100% sure. I'd need that was that long ago. It feels like forever. But do you know? As soon as the fixtures came out, 'cause it was different. And there's not phones, and I sound old now. As soon as the fixtures came out, it was like, when do we play them? And it was like the countdown. That was on because
get on CFAX.
Yeah, exactly.
316 for
exactly. When do we play them? So no, it was always a countdown to that. That's my most fondest memories. Yeah. All the games against Celtic.
There for Helicopter Sunday?
I was, yeah.
Oh dear.
What's Helicopter Sunday?
Oh, well, when Scott McDonald ripped the league away from Celtic, and all we had to do was to win. It wasn't even to draw, was it? We had to win on the final day of the season. And we were, I think...
So Rangers were playing Hibs at Hibs, and Celtic were playing Motherwell at Motherwell.
Yeah.
And I think you just needed to win. It was at a point, it was that close. But Scott McDonald scored. Did he score 2 in the last couple of minutes?
Yeah.
So basically, what the commentary. So if you went to like a pub or whatever, they had split screens.
Right.
So you could watch both games. And the commentator was like going on about the helicopter, because the trophy was in a helicopter because he didn't know where it was going. So it was like the helicopter was going to Motherwell's ground, and then they scored the 2 goals, and it was the helicopter's turning round. It's turning round.
It was pure theatre, mate.
It was like, I swear, see when you get a chance, go on YouTube and watch it. The helicopters in it is brilliant. The commentary is amazing.
Pretty sure I put in copyright strikes against all those videos, so they're no longer live.
But that's how close it was in those days. It was literally, you'd got on the team bus and it was like, what was the Celtic score? It was literally, there was nothing between the teams. It was so good.
We sort of see, I mean, just finally on Scottish football, are we seeing a sort of resurgence between that rivalry? I mean, I always think of it when I get invested.
Oh, hold on.
Hang on, hold
Pause
the
on that.
time.
There's a birthday cake in the studio. 24. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Emil. Happy birthday to you. 24. No way that doesn't make the best bits at the end of the year. Emil,
Thank you.
he's both struggling with the button there.
Yeah, there we go.
Might be a frisbee. Who knows the size of it. We'll cut the cake at the very end. That's class. Well done, guys, behind the scenes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Love that. Happy birthday, mate. It's great to have you on.
Scottish football.
Yeah. How'd you follow up that? How'd you follow up a birthday cake for Emil?
Do you want a slice, Emil?
Yeah, go on. Why not?
This is an absolute.
You might have to take this, Chris.
Yeah,
sorry.
you're onto a hiding there, mate. Chocolate cake live. All right, let's have a reminder of the results today while Will cuts the cake. I think they're madly scrambling
Big
around in
slice
the
or
gallery
just
looking for
small
something to
slice?
do while you chop cake. Here we go. Here's the results. Crystal Palace drew with Arsenal. Aubameyang was sent off. They finished with 10 men.
You've done
VAR
this
turned
before,
it from a yellow to a red. Chelsea
Happy birthday.
beat Burnley 3-0. That's a very welcome clean sheet for Frank Lampard's men. Everton edging out Brighton in a closely fought encounter. Carlo Ancelotti, that'll take some of the pressure off his squad. Of course, fans down at the training ground in recent. Over the birthday cake, I absolutely love it. Southampton beating high-flying Leicester. Man United, we talked about their inability to beat the lower teams, but Norwich aren't exactly a sitting defence, are they, conceding the most shots in the league. Wolves and Newcastle sharing the spoils, and Liverpool currently beating Tottenham at the Tottenham Stadium. Let's hear from some of the key men involved in today's games while I eat my cake.
Brendan, what are your thoughts? Yeah, well, we're disappointed. We haven't lost too many games at home here, so yeah. Over the course of the game, we didn't play well enough. I think that was pretty clear. We took the lead, but we were never comfortable in the game. The game was very broken. A lot of counter pressing and a lot of first, second, third balls. So, but no, I didn't think we defended well enough as a team. That was our big issue today in terms of counter pressing. You know what Southampton want to do as soon as you win it, they want to break forward. So in order to stop that, you have to be really aggressive in your duel, and we weren't able to deal with that side of it. And then of course on the other side we didn't create so much either. So yeah, if we would have taken a point, it would have probably been, it would have made me happy. But I can't deny Southampton the win today, and it was a good 3 points for them.
Ralph, how sweet was that?
It was hard. It was a tough game, coming back after being one down with the history of the first game. But in every second you could feel that this team is believing in what they're doing in a moment, and we had such a fantastic mentality today. And also we played good. I think we had 15 shots on the goal, and this was fantastic away game. I think we saw a fantastic game at all. Also, the Leicester was a strong side. When you give them a little space, they are very quick in playing deep, and we saw a lot of speed in this game, and exactly what we wanted to see.
Frank, how satisfactory was that performance and win today?
Very. One of the best at home this season for sure. Had everything other than more goals, but some of the football we played was great against a Burnley team that are notoriously difficult to play against when they want to be. But we made it hard for them. We were positive with our play from the first minutes of the game, and the only thing is that we didn't score more goals.
What's the issue been at Stamford Bridge this season, given that your home form hasn't been too great?
Conversion of chances, because in most of the games, and the ones we've lost recently, we've controlled big parts of the opening half at least, and haven't scored like we did today. We score in the first half 2 goals, and that changes the face of the game. So we've been working a lot on that, working a lot on can we arrive better at crosses and score from crosses. We scored from 2 of those today, and there's more to come. But yeah, that was the big difference of today.
Ollie, we spoke about performance before the game, so how satisfactory was the performance today?
Very, very, very happy with everything. You know, attitude, work rate. When the opposition manager can sit back and think, wow, that Man United, they do work. Even at 2-0, 3-0, 4-0, we're still working, we're pressing. And that's what I want from my team. I want to see that attitude every game.
Marcus Rashford becomes the third youngest player after George Best and Ryan Giggs to chalk up 200 games. How much is he growing into the role of a Manchester United player?
Oh, he's been exceptional, and to get to that stage at the age he's now is fantastic. You know, he's a leader in the group. He's 16, 17, 18, 19 goals now. I don't know how many, but he keeps producing, scoring goals, and the way he was so calm in front of the goal with his finish, the penalty, because you know he missed one, Anthony missed one. Krul is one of the top keepers on pens, but probably would have been a VAR because it was a yard off the line anyway.
You've won today, Chelsea have won, so the gap remains 5 points. Is this all building up to a big showdown at Stamford Bridge next month?
After the winter break? No. It's just keep carrying on, keep calm, keep improving, keep looking at the next game. That's what we have to do. Keep working behind the scenes, which the work's being done is fantastic, you know, and the lads, they've got a great attitude towards it.
Just finally, I know you've been asked all week about transfers, but when the race is so close and fourth place is so important, I know you've said you won't buy for buying's sake, but is there still a possibility? Is it something you'd like to do?
You know, I've really got the backing from the that we have resources if the right one becomes available, to the right money, and they've been so good with me. So for me, it might happen, it might not. It depends on if we find the one for the right value. But the backing is there.
Ollie, thank you.
Cheers.
Well.
But there's nothing to pin it on, so I've just got to hold it.
Emmy was just going to hold his birthday badge for the rest of the show. In fact, Will was going to figure it out. Will, you're actually supposed to come in now with some comments from socials.
Yeah,
but,
lots of questions coming in. You two both played under Steve Bruce, doing a fantastic job at Newcastle. But how good of a player, manager is he?
Do you want to go first? Or?
I thought he was brilliant for me, particularly as well. Worked under him before, so I knew when he came into Villa exactly what it would be like.
Yeah.
He's the type of guy, if you work hard and you give him everything, he'll give you everything. So that was pretty much the type of player I was. So we got on really well, and he gave me a lot of opportunities in the team.
When you see him getting the Newcastle job, there's so much negativity around it, but obviously playing under him, do you think great appointment?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a bit harsh, the amount of criticism he got at the start. He hadn't even really done anything at this, to just be getting the kind of stick. So I felt for him, but he's a strong man. He's been there and done it several times, so I knew he would come out the other side of it, which he has done, and I think he's proved a lot of people wrong.
Was the stick because of Sunderland?
No, I think mainly just because they've gone, in Newcastle fans' eyes, from having Benitez to Steve Bruce.
But also, I'm sure there'd been a few that would be in the back of their mind also.
He's a Newcastle fan, though.
He is. He's a Newcastle boy, fan.
But I mean, you worked with him at two clubs.
Yeah, I enjoyed every minute of it. To be honest with you, I think, like Hutch said, you know, he's quite straightforward in his approach. Work hard. We'll give you certain tactics. Be solid, and then we'll try and nick goals in the ascendance.
Just one quickly as well, Doogie, Southampton. Massive resurgence. Obviously, it was the return leg of the 9-0 drumming. They've won 2-1. What a turnaround for Ralph.
Yeah, it's been absolutely awesome. I mean, as we briefly talked about earlier, it looked like his days were numbered after that 9-0 thrashing. People forget that they were down to 10 men in that game. That sort of gets forgotten. And Leicester, everything they hit that day just seemed to go in. But yeah, what a turnaround. Can't wait for the highlights of that one later.
Well, talking of anticipation, we've just kicked off. And of course, Jose, well, out early there, wasn't he? And we do anticipate, you know, changes maybe around 60 or 70 with Jose, but it's as is for now, guys. Let's have some new questions, though, from you in the comments box. Will's going to get them. Yeah, let's hope it's a bit more eventful, at least with Tottenham, who've started. No, Very calmly done by Van Dijk, and it's been cleared. Have we got any questions you've been holding on to?
Yeah, one I wanted to, we've had a bit of chat about January transfer window, but we were talking about Pogba, a man that's sort of followed in Pogba's footsteps, agent-wise.
Oh!
Bring it back, Phil. Bring it back.
OK, what happened there, Alan?
It's a good run, but and a good strike. But I think Mora would be looking for the foul here. It's a good ball for Aurier.
That's what we're going to see more of, right?
Yeah,
fizzed into his feet.
Positive, but I think that's put him off ultimately. The tapping his heels has put him off, so I'd bring it back for the foul.
Lucas Moura surging past Henderson. Oh my, very confidently done. Lucas Moura surging past Henderson, getting a shot away, but like Alan said, was falling at the time, so didn't quite get there. And very calmly out of defence by Tottenham there, which, you know, wasn't necessarily the case first half. Became a little bit ragged at times, didn't it? But let's hope for a bit more poise in the second half. Jose prowling a touchline. Let's see if he gets them going. He's maintained, you know, the humble one act to an extent, hasn't he? But there's definitely been some comments recently, particularly the one where he said, "I was rude, but I was rude to an idiot." Yeah. Is that the kind of Jose we want to see, Alan?
Yeah, I think that's Jose of old. I think when he first came in and he said he'd learned from his mistakes and he was a different kind of guy, with the ball boy and all the rest of it. We thought he'd changed, but I think he will eventually slip back to what we're used to seeing, I think.
I think he's got a naturally sort of combustible personality. He's quite irritable. You've already seen him. Maybe the quote was slightly taken out of context, but having a little dig at Ndombele, saying he's constantly injured, we can't get him on the pitch, that sort of thing. And he has, well, at least had a reputation at Man United of seemingly picking on some players, not least Luke Shaw, although it did revitalise his form. So, you know, we'll see what happens in the next 6 months. Jose Mourinho at Spurs is going to be absolutely box office, particularly if he doesn't get the funds he needs to re-energise this team next summer.
And I think going. Mind being picked on. It gives them a boost. Certain players just don't like it and they don't want to be. Yeah.
On the subject of a Tiger changing his stripes, then, did you ever play under a manager who was noticeably different?
Nice.
You know, after a passage of time, like Martin O'Neill, for example, Leicester, Villa. Did he ever change?
No, it was exactly the same throughout both, and it was different eras as well, and that's possibly why it didn't work towards the end. The era where I played in, we didn't need too much coaching, especially when I first got in. We had a lot of characters, we had a lot of players that could actually figure things out on the pitch, whereas now players need information. They need this information overload on that pitch. They're wanting to know everything. They're coming a little bit like robots at times, but they need to know everything. They need to know what
it's getting like that. They analyse everything to death.
Everything.
And it's a player's half an inch out of position and it's a nightmare. But it's totally different now.
Do you not think it's kind of ushered in some of the greatest football the Premier League's seen with Pep and Klopp, who of course are very demanding in their tactics?
He's offside, surely.
They'll bring it back.
That's about 2 metres offside.
I mean, we're seeing a very long passage of play post a possible offside. Sadio Mane letting it go to Trent, and it's almost gone off for a throw. But just going back to that question, then, do you think?
I think that's the flip side. I think you're right. I think these guys coming in have made it better. Your Pep and obviously Klopp, these guys are on a different league.
But do you think there's a problem then trying to replicate that further down the league? Or is that the sort of critical thinking you want to see just throughout the Premier League, full stop?
No, because I think it's different to have all different types. I think if everybody was trying to play the exact same way, and plus you can't always have the same players to play a particular way. All teams are different, so it's just whatever works best for them. I like seeing the different styles because it makes for a more exciting league. If everybody tried to play possession-based, nobody would go anywhere really. If you know what I mean, you would just go for the stats.
It's leagues now, though. Like even in the Championship, you see owners demanding
certain style.
Like even at Blues, like we definitely haven't got the players to do it, and I don't think that's any disrespect to the players there. But the owners want it, and the manager's got to try and implement it with.
Do you think that's where the problem is? Sometimes owners wanting to instill this philosophy, have this kind of Rolls-Royce style of play and ethos.
Well,
It's toy, isn't it?
Is it out of touch with reality?
The square pegs round holes. You've got to deal with what you've got. If you as a manager come in and you're trying to implement this play like this and they can't do it, you're just bashing your head against them.
Everyone has to be on the same page, and I think that goes from top to bottom. Like if I'm a manager and I want to play a particular way, but my owner's saying I don't want you to play that way, I want you to play possession based. It's not.
You've got the wrong,
it's like,
you've got the wrong manager, didn't you?
Yeah, it's difficult.
It was all set up for Pep Guardiola before he came, wasn't it?
But that's the thing. He's got that's his DNA, isn't it? Everywhere, even across New York City and everything like that.
There's very few managers that wield that power, to demand that that's how the club play throughout all the age groups. You were touching upon it earlier. So I guess, on the flip side, we've seen, Hasenhüttl do it successfully over a long period of time, a longer period of time at Southampton. To go from Mark Hughes' style of football was a bit more pragmatic to Hasenhüttl's style of football was a bit more continental. But he could have been fired in the interim period. It's a big risk now.
But then I even think on the flip side of that, it's like if the owners can't get the manager that they want, look at what we've got at Blues. It's like they're almost like the puppet master for the manager in terms of their. I don't know if it's fact or not, but it feels like they're controlling.
How egotistical do you have to be as an owner to think you can pick the style of football?
No, I think that'll happen quite a lot.
Yeah,
there'll be these guys.
Remember the old 4-year plan one when it was the Italian guys and he rang up. He said bring so and so on, and in this circumstance he brought. I think it was Gavin Marn, the centre back, on, and he scored straight away from the corner. So the owner was just like. That's my substitution. Yeah. But we don't have that up.
Dusting himself off. Talking about different styles of play then, how was your loan spell in Spain? Because, not many Scottish players make it out to La Liga.
No, they don't. It was a kind of strange one. It came out the blue a little bit from my agent who knew a different agent. And I remember the phone call and I was just thinking, is he serious here?
Is this Snodgrass?
And I remember having to, I googled the team, because you want to see the players and stuff. And it was Giovanni, the boy I was with at Tottenham at the time. Nice. And I was like, I wasn't playing at Villa and I had to play, so I was like, I'm just going to try it. And honestly, it was one of the best times of my footballing career. So different compared to the way it is in England.
The lifestyle or the
lifestyle, training, the pressure of football. Over there, it was about enjoyment. I understand there's a lot of money still involved and stuff, but it was all about enjoying your football. They were all very tactically good, technically good, and it was just about enjoying the game.
Who was your manager over there?
Oof, good question.
That guy.
Mister, you had to call him. Like boss or gaffer or whatever, it was like Mister.
It was only for the second half of the season.
Yeah.
But what a switch up from Birmingham to Mallorca. I mean,
they do call.
Yeah, we know where you're going with that. Missed the boat.
I'll see you later.
Do you wish you'd gone to Europe earlier on in your career as a result, or spent more time there, or did you just enjoy it for what it was?
No, because I was relatively youngish, I suppose.
Yeah.
It was just because I wasn't playing at Villa at the time and I wanted to keep playing. There was opportunities for me to go back.
Yeah.
Real Mallorca didn't do well that season. They got relegated but there was some offers from different teams in the Liga. But
nice.
Like financially,
Must have been impressive.
No, I enjoyed it. It was basically go and attack and enjoy yourself. Don't worry about that. Just do that.
You already said you like that.
I'll do that then.
That's
So
me.
it was brilliant. Like, honestly, I thoroughly enjoyed it. But like financially and things, it's worlds apart when you look at the likes of Spain. Obviously, you've got your top few, and then everything else below that is just nowhere near what it is over here.
And did you manage to make an appearance at the Bernabeu, the Camp Nou, the Mestalla?
Yeah, played at them all.
Did you?
Yeah.
Amazing.
So I was lucky enough to play with Rangers at the New Camp, and then obviously that was the main thing as well. I was like, I'll get to play, so I'm looking at all the fixtures. Where have they started to play? I was like, Mestalla, everywhere. I played all the big ones. So it was like a kind of tick in the box, something that you would think you would never do really in your career.
Was the fan culture different out there? Well, you said there wasn't as much pressure.
For us, it was it was relatively relaxed. Obviously, they still support their team and they want their team to do well. But again, I didn't speak the language, so they could have been saying anything. I thought they were having a good time. I was like, they could have been shouting anything, but
maybe a little siesta took the edge off proceedings. And you're telling me that you like train in the afternoon and you're at the beach kind of
they could
midday. That just sounds like heaven, mate.
They
would come back for?
I know. What did they come back for? They did change it up. Yeah, good place. They did change it up. If you were playing at night, sometimes they like to train the day before at night time. But if you'd done it earlier on, the boys were really quite nice. So they would say, do you want to go down the beach, we'll have a coffee, and it was just really chilled and it's just so different.
Did lots of them speak good English?
Yeah. You're turning up to training and your boys are coming in shorts and flip-flops and a vest and you're like...
Did they speak Glaswegian though? Were they looking at you like, where's this accent from?
Like, what's he saying? Doesn't even speak good English.
Emily, did you ever have any opportunities to play abroad? Did it ever appeal to you?
You looked at my Wikipedia, you understand that I played in Australia.
Well, on the continent, of course. You played in India, you played in Australia.
I played in India.
Not in India, sorry, I'm having an absolute mare here. But
I played
in the peak of your powers.
Yeah, I had opportunities, but once you're playing in England, the thing is, our mindset is you got to play in England.
Really?
You got to play in the Premier League. Oh, here we go.
Oh, what a tackle.
Challenge.
Virgil van Dijk again keeping Tottenham at bay. Sergio Aurier! Rasping drive right down the throat of Alisson. Anyway, to go back to going to Europe at the peak of your powers.
Yeah, I had the opportunities. I think Germany when I was very young. But apart from that, actually, just before I went to Birmingham, I was speaking to AC Milan.
Well, you made the right choice, didn't you?
Ended up in Charlie Hall.
You made the right choice there. Mikel Forsell or Rui Costa?
Yeah,
exactly.
Was that the powers of persuasion by Steve Bruce?
Yeah. But no, it was...
He must have some chops on him.
Oh, wow.
What a tackle.
What a tackle. Sanchez.
To see that as well.
What happened there, Alan?
It was an unbelievable move from Liverpool, all across the box, and Sanchez with an amazingly timed challenge. He done it unbelievable to cut it out.
Yeah, that was destined for the back of the net, didn't it? But for that challenge by Davinson Sanchez, and they're on the attack again. Very similar to Sergio Aurier's effort, straight at the goalkeeper's hands. Firmino this time from the middle of the goal. It still hasn't quite sunk in. Heskey chose Birmingham over AC Milan. Will, let's get some more questions to move on from that, because my head has come clean off my shoulders in Studio 10.
Even I'd have told you to move to Milan. Just reading out a couple of price boosts we got on Sky Bet here. Roberto Firmino to score a brace, already got one, 11-2. That's just changed 6-1. That's all changing right in front of me. And Sergio Aurier, we know he can be gets a tackle in at the best of times. 5-1 to be carded there, if you want to get on those odds. Well, from Howard Anderson, seeing young defenders like Tanganga already getting a shout out, Trent and Gomez on the field. What is your predicted England back four in 3 to 4 years' time?
Wow.
I mean, let's bring it in a little bit closer. Let's maybe look at the World Cup in 2 years' time. I mean, because I don't even think we could name the back four as a collective for England going into the Euro, could we?
Trent, I think, is cemented, really, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's done fabulous, to be honest with you.
More so than Kyle Walker.
Yeah, but the thing is, I think it's just age. I just think it's the age thing. I think do we take Kyle for another?
I think bringing Trippier as well back into the fight as well, doesn't he?
I just think Trent at this age doing this well, why not just have him there as cemented as your
delivery and stuff is like I think you have to play him because of even just that.
Yeah.
Like Kyle Walker obviously gives you pace and stuff, but I think delivery wise.
Well, we saw him almost kind of go out of his way to work Kyle Walker into that system at the World Cup. On the left-hand side, over back three, and Son flashing a shot. Past goal. That's really well worked from Tottenham. We actually have seen a little bit more forward thinking, a bit more drive, haven't we? A bit more impetus. Was very close to going in. Alan, you've been impressed with them second half?
Yeah, they've done all right in spells. Obviously, still a lot in favour of Liverpool, but I like seeing that from Eriksen. See them, the passes that he can pick, the runs that he sees.
That's better.
When he's top of his game, that's what he's good at. and that's what Tottenham need at the moment. So it was a good ball from Eriksen into Son, and then unlucky. So hopefully we can see more of that.
Yeah, definitely making it much more of a competition this half, aren't they, Will?
Yeah, definitely. Just back onto the England chat, then centre-backs, because I think that's the one that nobody's really nailed down. I mean, we've Tyrone Mings has come in there, Michael Keane's played there, John Stones isn't in the best of form.
So we're talking about
I just think the Euros. Let's go for the Euro. Who would you
pick? So it's Maguire in one then?
Yeah, you think?
For me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd go with Maguire and maybe Tomori. I really like John Stones to get back to his best, but he hasn't really been at his best for quite a while now, and struggling to get a run of games in the Man City team despite their sort of defensive issues. But Gomez, Maguire, Tomori, there's quite a few good options at centre-back, and then Chilwell looks nailed on for the left-back slot, especially with Danny Rose
I'm going
in
to
and
go
out of the
Mings.
side.
Mings.
Yeah.
You're going to go Mings for...
Obviously, I know I've played with him and all the rest of it, but I think he's grown as a player since he's went to Villa.
What a story as well.
He's definitely grown into that leadership quality.
Yeah.
He's commanding, he's organising, he's a left-sided player.
Sonny, yeah.
He brings great balance to the back four, I think, having the left and the right, and then Chilwell.
He was unbelievable against
funny.
Leicester midweek, wasn't he?
It's funny because we were talking about that on air, and we were just raving about him, but we were raving about the fact that he defends.
Yeah, he's the
whereas the others were talking about the way they drive out with the ball and they can do this, but they don't really defend too well. We're raving about him because he defends, because he wants to put his body on the line, because he wants to win. He wants to win headers. He's commanding. He's shifting people around, and yeah, he's done fabulous.
I think Maguire can come out with the ball, pass. For me, you don't need two to be doing it.
No.
So,
and if you're going to play Maguire, I would like to have someone with a bit of pace.
And he is quick.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Tyrone Mings is quick.
Who of those centre-backs, Emil, would you least like to play against if you're playing today? Well, maybe not match.
It's funny because I played against Harry Maguire when he was at Wigan. And I was 36 at Bolton, and handling my own pace-wise and everything. I was thinking, Jesus, if this guy would have seen me at 18.
You saw him go for that record fee, you just thought...
You know, he's done fabulous.
5 years ago.
He's done fabulous, to be honest with you. He's got better as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has. I mean, his distribution's great, isn't it? And I think you guys are right in that Mings is a really good foil for someone like Harry Maguire, because at the World Cup, he was one of England's sort of chief progressors in the ball, wasn't he? It was crazy, his little surges.
Corners. Every time we had a corner, it was just like, here we go.
Yeah.
Get the love train going, baby.
Slabhead, as Jamie Vardy calls him. Yeah, so left back, is it as simple as Ben Chilwell?
Yeah, it's
For me, it is, yeah.
Yeah, he's been
especially with Shaw's slight regression over the last 12 months.
It's a shame he's had a bad injury.
Yeah.
He has had a bad injury, but he showed great promise. So I hope he can get back to that. He's still young.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
No Danny Rose from more,
Again,
club?
I like him. I like him a lot as a player. He's got a lot of experience. He can give you a lot. I just think recently, over the last few seasons, I think Chilwell's just grew into the position, and he offers you a lot. He's a good defender. He's fast, good ability on the ball. He's got pretty much everything you need as a fullback.
One more.
Oh, there's one there. There's one there. Look.
Sadio Mane in, Robertson surging down the left. Can he put it back?
Oh, it's a good block.
Maybe a little bit too late, but Liverpool starting to break through again, starting to look a little bit ominous. Joe Gomez, though, almost gave the ball away about 2 minutes ago, firing it across his own box.
There's no need to go in there.
Yeah, we've not even spoken about Liverpool's, one of their starting centre-halves. You're right, England have very good depth in every position across the defence, apart from left-back, right? I think Ben Chilwell. Danny Rose is an able deputy, for sure. OK, we're moving on to the midfield. Are you playing 4-3-3, Will? You're the manager here.
Yeah, but I think that's the weakest area, isn't it, in terms of what we've got so far?
Roles.
As in, like, midfielders.
Well, you think that's the weakest area?
I think so, yeah. Just in terms of, like, Henderson, I think, obviously very underrated, so that's a shoe-in. But then it's like, everyone's mentioned Maddison, Grealish.
So many.
The
right blend that you need depends as a manager. I think it depends who you're playing against. Nations, you don't want 3 attacking players.
No.
And that's the...
Oh, OK. Looks like we've had a nasty
challenge.
collision down Tottenham's right-hand side, but play continues.
They're going to score here.
Oh, what a save! What happened there? That was a slightly better header than Van Dijk's at the back post, right?
Yeah. I think, what was it, Robertson had a pretty heavy touch when lunging in, caught Tanganga.
It looked like their shins.
It looked kind of 50-50 a little bit.
But he kind of, this touch was heavy.
That's
Robertson's actually late there.
Tanganga's done well there. He's got back up, probably done him a bit of a favour.
If VAR looks that might be a red.
A red card.
I mean, if
over the ball,
that might be a red.
If Aubameyang's is sending off, has he done enough there to get sent, Alan?
I think that would be yellow. I think.
Yeah, I've seen it a couple of times. It actually looks like
he's
he throws it a little bit and then he
won the
throws it a
ball.
little bit and then catches
They
it.
not even checked that.
They haven't checked it. I can clarify. We had to give him an orange card then in the studio, a little bit heavier than a yellow. But Liverpool, the play continues.
But that is another example where the confusion about VAR is it's supposed to overlook at contentious decisions. Why is it not even looked at that? Whereas instead we spend 3 minutes checking something that's clear and obvious. Like,
these are the problems, the grey areas, if you want to say.
I mean, I'm not calling for anyone to be sent off, but I think they should have probably looked at that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, you don't want to see a 20-year-old kid making his Premier League debut on the end of one of those challenges.
As well, like,
Robertson's not meant it, has he?
See, when I see VAR decisions, it's always a case of who's looking at it. Like, we could see the same tackle 12 times, and you could say, it's fine, and I could say, no, that's off.
Yeah, it's just subjective.
It depends how you see it.
That's maybe why it should go. The referee should go to the monitor
and him decide.
His call.
Yeah.
But look,
rather than just like Stockley Park as this mysterious person, everyone just blames VAR.
You look at rugby.
No one's got.
I think that's done well.
Yeah, I agree.
Not for the NFL when they've got the flags. Just for the.
Not for the first time. Then another sport referenced as the focal point. Well, what should be the barometer for football? Let's see if they make any changes in the coming months, because it's definitely being discussed enough, isn't it? Will, we got any questions, mate?
Yes, after the revolutionary developments that Emil Heskey turned down Milan for my wonderful Birmingham City, Lofty wants to know, Alan, did any transfers happen that didn't materialise that we don't know about?
For myself?
Yeah.
You're saying off there you nearly joined Sunderland off that loan spell?
Yeah, there's little things like nothing to the level of this AC Milan. There was nothing like that. No, there's always as a player, say you're not playing or whatever, teams will come in for you, but it's all ifs and buts. And
do you hear about those, or do you go?
You can, but it depends. Like me as a player, I would always say to my agent, tell me when it's something concrete, because it's annoying. So imagine I phone you up as your agent and say, right, I've got these 6 teams, and then none of them come off, and you're saying to me, but I thought you had these 6 teams. Like, what's happening here? So I always wanted to know when it was more concrete, but there's always little things.
We've seen Jesse Lingard sign with the super agent Mina Raiola. How much does an agent have an impact on your career? Is that very much the way?
No, it depends. It depends what player it is. You have more say on his career than he has on yours.
Yeah.
If you're good, you take him a long way.
Yeah.
I always thought as a player, if you're at the top of your game, playing the best, you really don't need an agent.
Yeah.
Because you're selling yourself.
Got you.
But if you're a 9 out of 10 every week, somebody's going to come and want you. If you're struggling and you're not in the team and you've not played in a long time, you're saying to your agent, can you help me get a move here?
Talking about struggling and not getting in the team, what do you think of this? Giovanni Lo Celso coming on for Christian Eriksen and Lamela on for Rose. That's quite attack-minded, Alan.
Yeah, it is. They've done this same substitution before, I'm sure. It was a recent game. It was at Middlesbrough, and it changed the game.
Yeah, against Middlesbrough, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, say that.
So they made the exact, well, not for the players coming off, but going on, the two of them went on and they changed the game. They got into the box a lot more. So it looks to me that Mourinho has decided that it's time that
he's going for it.
Yeah, he's going to. I heard that. Yeah.
Is this what?
He's going to try and get
really?
Okay.
I mean,
it's a bit of discontent in the. There was just a few occasions where he looked like
I thought that
wasn't tracking back a little bit.
Great strength from Mane.
Strength from Mane.
Slip him.
So what do you do if you're Spurs then? Take the 20 to 30 million for Eriksen, or keep him to the end of the season where he can leave on a free?
The thing is, if you keep him and let him leave on a free, at least get the most out of him from that little spell. If he's not going to give you anything in that little spell, what's the point?
I'd want to talk to him if I was the manager. I'd sit him down and say, I'll let you go if you give me everything.
Yeah. You don't mind that, do you?
Yeah. Apparently Jose had that chat with him, didn't he? He tried to convince him to sign a new contract, and he didn't. And the idea was to sell him after. Like Emil said, is he actually making any difference here? Do you not just cut ties?
It looks to me that he's basically saying that I want to leave. Obviously, the Inter-Man speculation is kind of snowballing, and the representatives have spoken. So maybe he's thinking, no. January's the time I want to leave.
I think it probably makes sense, and you saw his form slightly pick up in December, maybe slightly tactically, because he knows that clubs wouldn't have been that impressed by his period of August to late November, and played it pretty well against Norwich. But yeah, I'm with these guys. I think he's seemingly not at his best, and he's actually becoming a distraction to squad. If he's a distraction to squad unity, I'm not saying he is. I don't know whether he is. Then I think it's better to get £25 million now. Rather than let him leave for free, because he's one of your, top assets. So to lose him for free would be absolutely devastating.
To get a player's perspective on it, I agree. To get a player's perspective on it, if you know that the chance of a big payday is going to be there at the end of the season if you hold out, is that not what you do, or do you think he's just going to be that desperate to go to be a first-team footballer elsewhere at a bigger side that he kind of maybe forces for a move and takes less favourable terms?
I think he wants something new, to be honest. Looking at it now, it looks like he wants to leave now, which says to me he wants a change. It's not about the money. Of late, to me, says that he wants to move in January.
Yeah, which is, I suppose, a bit more easier to digest, right? If you're a fan, that he's not leaving, he's not just sitting on the bench and in the hope to collect a massive lump sum. Emil, stay or go?
I think if you can get money for him now, why not get money for him now? And you can move on. You can start planning for the future. Who have we got? Who can we get in, or who have we got at the club that can take his place now? Because if you're just having him around because you think he might get back to his best, no. He could be disruptive. We don't know if he is, like you said, but he could be.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
It'd be a fascinating move, from Inter Milan's perspective as well, because I haven't been that impressed with the players they've been linked with this January in Marcus Alonso and Ashley Young. I don't think
that happens with Conte, though, right?
Yeah, I mean, age is no limit for Conte, seemingly. But I think Christian Eriksen would be a great addition in that midfield. I mean, Valero's now 34 in there. They'll probably lose him. Barella and Sensi have missed quite a few games with injury. So to get someone in a Christian Eriksen's stature and ability and get him back to his best, that could potentially sway the title race in their favour, because it's really tight over there.
I mean, Lo Celso was brought in, I guess, to kind of be the long-term heir to Christian Eriksen. He can play deep, he can play number 10. I mean, you must have watched him a bit at Real Betis, a bit at PSG.
Yeah, I mean, he's a phenomenal
enough?
player. I think he is. I don't think he's shown it so far that he could be the long-term replacement for Eriksen, but what I was reading the last couple of weeks is that Spurs are quite keen to make him permanent, so they obviously see the potential there. He played very well in one Champions League game. I can't quite remember which opponent it was, but he can play as part of a midfield three, he can play as a number 10. Similar to Eriksen, he's got that sort of flexibility in his game, not afraid of working pretty hard. Defensive actions have always been pretty strong. So I think Lo Celso, put your faith in him, is not a bad option. Maybe get another in there in the summer or in January, and away you go.
Oh, talking about faith, do we have faith that our man's going to Tanganga's going to finish this game? Because it looks like he's pulled up a couple of times with cramp, and Vertonghen is now warming up. By the way, do you think Christian Eriksen should stay or go? Let us know, guys, with the hashtag, stay or go. Let's keep it simple.
Tanganga gang.
In the comments below. Tanganga gang. And
come on.
Play right.
Here we go.
Shocking. Slow ball. Will, what's happened?
Son.
I think, to be fair to Son, I think it's the ball he gets delivered to him is just a little bit slow, and it gives Trent the
leaning
time
back,
to recover. Yeah. I mean, Alan, you'll know more than me. What a recovery run that is from Trent.
Oh, he does. He works his socks off to get back in, just to put him off. He's just
just in his peripheral vision.
Yeah, but he's under the ball there. I think the slide has put him off, but it looks like he's just right under it.
that is Spurs' biggest chance of the game, isn't it? Son had a little bit of time there.
Well, it's everything Alan's been talking about, isn't it? There's two at the back because the full-backs are up. They've exposed that. And
Here we go, though. A little renaissance in the second half of Spurs. Again, the final pass lacking a little bit there out to Son.
This is better. Look, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. There's like 5 in the box now. Instead, in the first half, there was no one. They were playing it down into the channels and there was nobody there.
Yeah,
this is better.
Making that switch to a back four, getting another attacking player on there seems to have really done well in the last 5 minutes.
Well, Lamela was Pochettino's go-to guy to sort out a lot of tactical problems, wasn't it? So maybe he can help out his new manager here. Will, after that little, buzz, finally, let's get some more questions in.
Yeah, lots of questions coming in on Tandanga as well. We saw Vertonghen warming up. From you two, say you're an established centre-back like Vertonghen. I don't know how it works in the dressing room, as you can tell I've not played professional football. But
No.
yeah, it's true. You come in, you see the team sheet, you're Vertonghen, you're not on it. How do you deal with something like that?
You're obviously disappointed. You're obviously disappointed, but it depends on your demeanour are you a team player and you wanting the team to do well. You wanting to educate the young lad about positional wise and certain players that play. You've played against all these players, so certain players do this, certain players do that. Don't get too tight. Make sure you give yourself enough room and this and that. It depends what sort of players you're. Wow.
Oh, uncharacteristically panicky from Liverpool at the back. Yeah, so it's a great question. And do you have to make sure in that scenario you're there for the younger player, Alan?
Yeah, of course. You have to help. You can't be one of these guys that goes in a huff and head down. You need to help the younger players come through and get better. But Vertonghen, as a professional player, he won't want to as a centre-half play at left-back.
Yeah.
So it depends on the formation he's playing. If they were playing a 3, he'd be disappointed maybe not to be one of the 3. But if they were playing a 4, does he want to play left-back? Not really.
Well, has he been playing him at left-back, Jose, to do that thing that he does where he's making a point of how desperately he needs transfer?
Possibly. He's done it a couple of times, played Vertonghen out there, and just for me, it's just not his position. You
get exposed when you're out there and you're not used to that position as well. Even just down to the smallest things. He does it naturally because he's a right back, but just the position of your body at times. If it's in the wrong position, you get exposed very quickly.
Yeah.
And do you feel, when the manager... I suppose it's one thing the manager asking you to do a shift, right? But like we kind of said at the start of the show, if you feel like you're being used to suggest, how heavily you need players, how can that make you feel as a player? Being played out of position is a bit of a pawn in the game.
Yeah, I guess but everyone's been in that position.
Ooh.
Handball.
Adam Lallana picking up at the edge of the box. Mo Salah. It's a bit more end-to-end now. Spurs definitely making a game of it, but sacrificing a bit of defensive solidity, Dougie.
Yeah, just on that final point on Vertonghen, I was actually writing about it this week, that when Spurs play Vertonghen, they really lose quite a lot of width on that left-hand side as well, because he's not, as comfortable in wide areas as Ben Davies or Danny Rose. And actually, I was writing this week that I was looking at the stats, that Spurs are the most narrow team in the Premier League in terms of the way they attack, which I think has been a problem this year. You often see their players sort of on top of each other, especially with Son and Lucas so keen to come inside. So I think a long-term Mourinho getting a left wing-back or someone very comfortable overlapping, who's a bit younger than Rose, maybe he's got a bit more legs in him these days, would be a really good signing.
Yeah, it clearly doesn't think of Sessegnon as a full-back either, does it?
Well, he's more attack-minded, isn't he? He's more attack-minded. But like you're saying with Vertonghen, it makes sense because he's a centre-back.
Yeah.
So he won't want to go for it. He'll tuck in. Let him have
I'm not going to be up there.
Yeah.
Then I can't
get back. Yeah.
Especially at 31, 32 or whatever, yeah.
And I imagine Jose, the idea of going narrow is to be a bit more defensively sound, right? But like Alan said, they've conceded so many goals.
Go.
Not a foul, and Tottenham break. This is actually a really exciting game, despite our very cold demeanours on the sofas. Tottenham actually making a good fist of its second half, which was not the case.
4 men in there, get it in.
Son on the edge of the box.
Lucas! Oh. Good challenge, who was that?
Liverpool collecting quite calmly in the end.
I think this is Mourinho all over, though, when you look at it. Sat in, tried to hit them on the counter, waited till maybe 15 minutes to go and then decided, right, get the boys on, get boys in the box to try and create something.
And it seems to be working at the moment.
Yeah, they're having chances.
We were talking about model pros earlier, and shout out to Lallana. He's had so many injuries. He's very much a bit part player now. But the other day in the in the FA Cup. He's playing with a bunch of kids, doesn't drop his head whatsoever, is completely committed to the cause, really guided them through that occasion.
Gamble! Somebody has to be. That's a Harry Kane.
So he deserves a lot of respect.
Yeah.
That is so true. Harry Kane's normally lurking in that back post. Great ball across and a great point from Doogie. Adam Lallana, when he's asked, talk about doing a job for your manager, he'll do whatever Jurgen Klopp asks him to. And he does it very well when he's fit, doesn't he? What about Curtis Jones, watching a player like that thrive in the FA Cup?
Yeah, definitely. You know, all the young lads, but especially him, someone with so much confidence and ability, but to go out there and actually produce it at such a young age and still be upset that he's not playing more. But no, but it's good. It's good to have that confidence.
You've been there. You thrived at Leicester from very early on. What's the mindset of a player when they're making waves in the squad at 18?
I was just confident. I knew what I could do. I had a manager that instilled confidence in me. Whenever, even if I had a bad game, he would keep pushing me, and the players were great as well. So,
do you not think confidence is a huge thing?
Huge.
It is massive. See if you can keep hold of that confidence. There's a fine line between being arrogant and confident, but I think as a footballer, if you worry too much,
you don't start losing confidence until you're gone 20.
Yeah.
Before that, you don't care.
Who's more influential at that stage?
That is totally right.
Yeah, you don't care. At a young age, you don't care if you make a mistake or anything.
Just go and play.
You go and play and you enjoy it. It's when you get older and you overthink, overanalyse.
You think, oh, I better not give the ball away here, because if I do and they go and score, and then the manager's going to be on me, the fans will be on me, so I maybe play a little bit safe. But as you're saying, as a young kid coming through, it's like the shackles are off. You're just playing. You just down the
You
street
do the most silly things. You try and meg someone on the edge of the box, and don't care. I don't care whether if it did or if it didn't.
But if you tried it when you were older, you end up scoring another team.
Who's more influential at that stage of your career in terms of maintaining the confidence? Senior pros or the manager?
Yeah, both.
Yeah.
You want the manager on your side, though. You need the manager on your
If
side.
the manager's on your side and he likes you.
Yeah.
I remember you saying Steve Walsh was great at that.
Yeah. Yeah, all the senior pros were, to be fair.
No! That had goal written all over it.
What a cross.
Threw it like a stick of rock. What's happened there? Jose Mourinho's laughing at his side, haven't scored.
What a ball.
Jurgen
That's an
Klopp has
unbelievable
gone
cross.
Oh, my days.
Crazy.
That was an incredible cross.
Again, I bet you if Harry Kane...
that's it, though.
Oh, Alan, what's happened here?
It's a great ball out from Son to Ore, and what a ball in. Like, it's begging to be put in.
Oh, my God.
And
Just should have gone with his right.
I genuinely think, well, I wouldn't say that I could put it in, but...
That is so disappointing.
Trent sees him.
Mourinho.
Trent sees him and it doesn't even tuck in.
Yeah.
Just leaves him.
But that's the thing. See, like sometimes a fullback, if you're out of position, see a split second, and the ball's in behind you, and there's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
That's why positionally you have to be
on your ball, on the ball all the time.
Yeah.
It's on his favoured foot as well, Lascelles.
Just in case you didn't know, Divock Origi has come on the pitch. Alvaro siving down Firmino there for a free kick. So Liverpool relieving the pressure off for now. But on the balance of play, Tottenham should maybe be drawing this game, Dugan.
Yeah, a couple of good chances. Yeah, I think we often criticise Mourinho of quite negative tactics. We often, accuse him of shutting up shop. But here, 60 minutes in, took off Eriksen, took off one defender. Danny Rose, exactly, put on Lamella, put on Lascelles, and they carved out 2 or 3 good opportunities.
They're actually edging Liverpool on attempts now.
Really?
Yeah, with 12. Wow. Only 2 on the target.
Who would have said that after the first half? So, potentially a fascinating end to the game.
Yeah, let's hope so. In many ways, has Mourinho, regardless of the result now, shown that he can, affect a game positively in the second half against the top side here? Will Spurs fans be weirdly coming out of this optimistic if they maintain this play for the next 5 minutes?
I think, yeah, in the second half, the fans will look at it and say they dug in and done well. They've created opportunities.
Yeah.
So I think they'll be happy with that.
What a 1-2 there. Lascelles are absolutely rifling that at Son, I think.
Son meant it.
Off his knee. Straight back to the... Tottenham, good shape here in the second half, much more attacking intent, like we just said. This is pretty impressive stuff from them.
Yeah, dictating play, and I feel like Liverpool's press has maybe slightly dropped off as well. I mean, Spurs are putting forward, 10, 12 pass moves, with regularity. And Liverpool will just be desperate to get this crucial...
This is what Liverpool were doing to them in the first half.
Mm-hmm. I think the intensity's gone from Liverpool as well. Yeah. The pressing intensity. It's like I think Sue mentioned it. They've got the ball. They've got the intensity. Spurs have the intensity now.
Yeah, they've got the momentum. Haven't they?
Yeah.
That was smart though from Lallana, like we were saying. Very useful substitute to have. Come on, taking the sting out of Tottenham's play for the time being by winning that free kick on a halfway line. Let's have a couple of questions in there.
Your thoughts on the absolute plethora of talent that Scotland have got of fullbacks at the moment? We've got Kieran Tierney and obviously Andy Robertson playing in this game at the moment. Is it exciting times ahead?
Oh yeah, but the only problem is they play in the same position.
Yeah.
So
Kieran's been deployed on the right a bit.
He has played right. I think right back is the problem area at the moment. Kieran Tierney has played there, but it takes everything away from him that he's good at, really, because it's difficult. So in the long term, this is going to be the problem with A2, how good they are defending and going forward. Look, Robertson's a captain, he's going to play.
Yeah.
So I feel a bit sorry for Tierney because he's going to get either pushed out to the right or centre back or whatever. But
yeah, he's played a lot on that left side of centre back.
Sometimes at the end of the day, it's your country, isn't it? So
do you feel like Scotland have a good chance going into the playoffs?
It'll be difficult. I know everybody says, "Oh, it's Israel and you should beat them and get on to the next one," but that's going to be a tough game. Even if people say they aren't as good as Scotland, it's still going to be difficult at international level, and then after that it's going to be tough. It's really going to be tough.
I mean, there's almost like you said, Scotland, my Scottish family, there's almost a little bit of reticence playing against someone who is the underdog because it's almost setting Scotland up to fail again. Does that mentality enter the players' minds in a camp?
It does a little bit. I mean, Scotland, when I was playing, we were always underdogs, and we did do well against some of the bigger teams.
Yeah, like the games against France, McFadden's part of the plan.
Italy and all that.
What a game.
Amazing times.
But then when they're expected to win it,
it's difficult.
A bit of a problem.
I think we've always kind of missed that. So Wales have Bale. And it's just
that world-class attacking player.
Just little something.
Bit of spark
and that's nothing against the boys that we're playing. Don't get me wrong. I just mean sometimes you look up and you think, right, who's going to get on the ball here and give us a little bit of magic? I think we were just missing a little bit of that. But they've got a great opportunity. They can definitely do it. It's going to be tough, but they've got a great chance.
And great that players like John McGinn are coming through. You know, someone from in the centre of the park who can really
McGinn, McTominay as well.
Yeah, it's a good midfield. Yeah. Some really good, talented boys there. So
really glad we got those lights installed instead of signing John McGinn for $3 million. Anyway,
worst mistake Celtic have ever made.
Thank you, Alan.
Just on Andy Robertson, we saw the foul earlier where it was a bit contentious if it was a red or a yellow. But Emma, you saw it as well. There was another late one from him.
Yeah, I think he's lucky, to be honest with you. The ball's well gone, and he's.
It's like a lazy one, isn't it? Just like left
his foot in, hasn't he?
Oh, well done.
That's brilliant.
Come on then. Bit of excitement. Last 5.
There you go.
They look like the energy's not quite there with Liverpool, isn't it?
And Spurs is forward.
Spurs look a bit knackered now as well.
Yeah.
A bit more movement.
I was going to say the forward players are.
They're lined up like this.
You said narrow. They're playing the Watford 2-2-2, aren't they? Like that.
That is so narrow.
If you want a little bit of a cheeky flutter going into the last 5 minutes, Heung-min-Son to grab the next goal, 25-1.
What a
challenge!
Has he got we wanted a free kick there. Come on, the neutrals want a draw. We want that, and then
there we go. Shoot!
Go on! Oh! Don't want to put a downer on your birthday, Emil, but I think Spurs deserve a goal here, lads. Let's have a few more questions after. Of course, if you've just joined us for the dying moments of the game and you're not subscribed, then please subscribe to Soccer M and Football Daily's YouTube page and check out our other social platforms as well. Always very active on Twitter. William.
Yes.
You got a stitch, mate.
Yeah, no.
Is that how exciting the game is? Is that
that
chocolate cake?
Too much cake with pesky.
I actually did have 2 slices when no one was looking. One here from Chris B says, do we think Liverpool can win the league and the Champions League this season?
Oh, well.
I think they can win the league. They've been outstanding, to be honest. So I think they just got to keep this momentum going.
Yeah.
Energy-wise, they're not looking as energised as I thought they would do. So this is probably just might be a one-off game like this one. But energy-wise, they've looked far more superior than anyone else. So I think the league, yes. Champions League,
it's a difficult one.
What about you,
I'll take that though.
League, yeah. I think they'll win the league, but again, the Champions League's a different kettle of fish. It's going to be very difficult.
Yeah.
But you never know what you've all chance.
Oh my!
Still Divock!
It's the goat! Oh, the clutch, Divock evading 2 defenders there. Lovely little drag back. He's clearly been taking note of Firmino in training, hasn't he?
Firmino's drag as well.
I think the factor with Liverpool in the Champions League is they haven't lost at home since, I think it's October 2014 in the Champions League. I think that was to Real Madrid. But they have had some difficulties in the Champions League in the last couple of years. Like they lost to Napoli, obviously. They nearly didn't go through last year. They got battered by Barcelona in the Nou Camp, but I think they'll be able to rest players in the Premier League when they're 16 points clear and just peak for the Champions League.
Yeah,
the double could be on.
Just 3 minutes stoppage time. And to go back to what you were saying, they struggled before they beat Genk, right?
Yeah.
Liverpool did not have a great away record after that run to the final. Wow, it's just 3 minutes. I mean, there hasn't been massive stoppages. We had the clash between
handbags.
You'd have been straight in there.
Well, possibly.
We had the clash between Robertson and Tanganga, didn't we? But that's probably about it. It's probably fair. Sheridan Shaqiri coming on. Look at that. That hairline has recovered tremendously.
It's unbelievable.
That's outstanding.
Hair transplant of the year.
What are we going? Him or Andros Townsend as best lid recovery?
Townsend by a mile.
Look at the appreciation.
It's wonderful now.
Alan, did you ever consider it?
Nah, it's not fun.
Because I am. So
Are you?
yeah.
What, are you considering it?
Well, if I had the money.
I've been like this since I've been
Pay rise.
22, shaving my head. So
What,
I think
Alan, what advice would you give to Dougie?
I think I'd look daft with hair. Is that way you just
got a
see
beard
it?
now.
You used to it now, ain't you?
I think in 2 years I might do the same. Actually, we could be twins. Meet
Go
up
for
again.
it.
Would you give that advice to Dougie to shave it off?
Yeah, well, it never really bothered me, if I'm honest.
Just take that.
Got to take the abuse.
You've got to get a loan stint at Mallorca, and then you've earned the right to shave it off. Townsend's just showing off now of how much hair he's got. But back to the game.
Rooney.
Anyway, we've got 90 seconds left. I mean, Rooney, not really worked, has it? But wispy. But you know, he's probably all right with that. One of the best players in the Premier League ever. Sure, that helps. Game slowed down though, Will.
Well, yeah, we're talking about advanced hair studio.
Have the questions slowed down?
No, not at all. Emil, it's your birthday. Congratulations. How many league goals would a prime Emil Heskey score in this Liverpool team?
A few. Yeah, this is a very, very attack-minded team, dynamic team. So I'd like to think I'd get a few.
Where would you put yourself in the 3 down the middle, or would
I couldn't play on.
But
mind you, I'd play down the middle, but it depends what age.
Yeah, I'm talking
22. You play
just rejected Milan. You come to Birmingham.
Imagine down the middle with the 2 fullbacks whipping in balls all day long.
Yeah, you'd have to.
You'd be in my dream team.
Was it the first season when you joined Liverpool where you scored over 20 goals?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go. Oh, everything's
down the middle.
The season where you did the treble of the other trophies.
Yeah.
Of the other trophies.
That sounds demeaning, but you know the 3 trophies.
3 cups.
Yeah, 3 cups as well.
Gary McAllister, 90. What was it against Alaves?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that was
remembered.
That was like 45 yards out, wasn't it? That free kick.
Something like that.
Put a bit.
Some football memory that.
Against Alaves.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Absolute sin.
Because didn't you get to I digress.
Yeah.
You get to the UEFA
Celtic got to UEFA Cup final,
the year after?
Yeah, against Porto 2003. Yeah. John Hartson. And
we drew 1-1.
That was Seville, yeah.
We drew 1-1 and we thought that we were going to spank you, but...
Drew 1-1 at Parkhead, right?
Yeah.
Alan Thompson scored that free kick under the wall.
Then I scored.
Yeah, and of course. How was it playing at Parkhead? Because a lot of players come to Parkhead and say it was, it's the best.
It's absolutely crazy. It's a sound.
I used to love it.
God.
You embrace it, Alan?
Oh, I loved it. Obviously, being a Rangers boy, I would intentionally, when I was doing my warm-up, run closer, like to the fans.
So they give you some.
That's what people don't appreciate.
That's why you prospered. Get me up for it.
Yeah.
I seen them down my throat. I'm like, yes.
And that's what's missing for the Premier League. That pettiness you only see in Scottish football.
Yeah.
It's underrated.
And what was it like when you're taking a throw in? You're right next to the fans and you're just getting called every name.
I would do it, that's what I'm saying. At like Parkhead, and if I was taking a throw in, I'd go as close to them as I could.
Yeah, go get the ball.
They're not going to do anything. And I'm not going to do it. I'm just like, because I know it's annoying them. So I'm just moving further back and closer. Calm down, sorry.
I mean, talking of annoyed, Jose Mourinho looking very forlorn there on the touchline. It's happy birthday to Emile Heskey. It's 1-0 Liverpool. It's Liverpool 16 points ahead in the Premier League to their closest rivals. They were 1-25 before this game to win it. It's probably just gone up. They're probably going to end that trophy drought. I think every time you've come to this studio, Liverpool have won. So I'm not saying you had anything to do with it.
Is that what you're saying?
It's more than likely you're a good luck charm. Jose Mourinho looking absolutely livid there. Those endeavours didn't come to anything right, because that was such a promising second half.
It really was. I thought Liverpool were very much on top. They had, the bucket load of chances in the first half. Didn't take them. A couple of good Gazaniga saves, but that second half was really good from Spurs. Best I've seen them play in quite a while over the festive period. So he can take a lot from that.
Definitely. And talking of a lot, we want to answer a lot of your questions at the end of the show. Don't worry, we're sticking around for the time being, so get them in the comment section, subscribe to the channel. I'm boring myself now, it's the last time I'm going to say it. Will, coming over to you for the final flurry of questions.
Yes.
You're looking, do you want me to stall for a little bit?
No, I'm perfect,
we're all
ready
good.
to go. What we've seen so far, who do we think can stop this unbeaten run? Obviously, we've got the likely contenders, but is there any wild cards that anyone...
I love it that 3-4 weeks ago it was, can Man City still catch up? Yeah. Now it's who can just beat them?
I think anyone can slip up. They could slip up against anyone. It's like anything. You can have an off day. I do believe that they're too far in front now. I think they'll go on to win it, but it's the Premier League. Everyone's good.
I think that's why everyone loves the Premier League as well, because you can get the bottom team beating the top on just an off day for them, or your luck's in, and it's possible.
Yeah, of course.
But you look at the game today, Spurs really should have got something out of it, especially on the performance in the second half. But the Liverpool seem to be riding their luck a little bit and getting them points that they need. There's been games, you can look at games, and they haven't really played particularly great, but they're grinding out results. A few seasons before, they lost them games.
It's crazy that they have been grinding out results, but the goal difference is still better than Manchester City's at this point. They're still scoring, they're letting a fair amount of goals, haven't they? But just formidable at both ends of the pitch. Where I was about to say, do they strengthen at all in January? They've added Minamino, haven't they already? But do you think Manchester City, do they need to strengthen? Do their rivals need to strengthen more so than them? It sounds obvious.
Yeah, I think Man City have. From being in quite a position of strength at the start of this year, obviously, they've now got major question marks over quite a few areas of their side. Otamendi's 31, Aguero's 31 as well. They've seemingly, Mendy hasn't come back quite the same player from injury, although going through 2 ACL injuries in pretty much 2 years, that's incredible. And I'm not criticising him for that, but it will take some time. They could probably strengthen centre-back as well. I don't know why they decided to get rid of Danilo and bring in João Cancelo. They should have used that money to replace Kompany, because Laporte's injuries really cost them. So there's now quite a few issues at Man City, whereas Liverpool, it's just an issue of really adding depth, really.
Yeah. It's crazy to think they can be making their second team better now.
If someone comes up that's available to them that makes the squad better, I don't think there's really any particular place you could say, right, they need to do this or they need to do that. Is if someone just comes up and it's right, he'll make the squad better, he'll make the team better, then they'll go for him. But
which is a scary thought, isn't it?
It's scary because in every position, let's face it, they're strong.
100%.
Talking of scary, let's have a look at the table then, because they're absolutely running away with it, aren't they? 61 points from 21 games. That should say 22 now, shouldn't it? Right. Or no, because
they do.
Of course, yeah. Oh my goodness. Sorry. I'm absolutely beside myself here. Liverpool pretty much wrapped it up, it would seem. Then Leicester still chasing them down, but might succumb to Manchester City in the next few weeks. It'd be interesting to see if Leicester strengthen, actually, because Jamie Vardy, of course, with his gluttony of goals this season, is really propped them up points-wise, hasn't he? So might ask you guys about that in a second. Have a think, Emile, who you think Leicester should probably pick up. Let's have a look at the bottom half of the table then. OK, so like we said, Southampton distancing themselves from that relegation scrap that they found themselves in the first
15 or so match weeks, have put together a good run of form recently, coinciding with Danny Ings, who is now second or third top goal scorer in the Premier League.
Second.
I think he's second. I think 4 of the top 5 are actually English strikers, which bodes very well.
Coming home, baby.
Going into the Euros is coming home. Norwich and Watford, very much familiar territory for them. Bournemouth, of course, have a game
Villa as well,
coming
look a bit
up.
Villa down there.
Right, gentlemen, let's have a few more questions then. But to start with, Leicester exceeding expectations. Do they need to make signings to really solidify that Champions League ambition, or do you think there's enough in the squad to secure it now?
Within January, everyone wants to make signings, and I don't know if it's a mental thing where people just want to pick the squad up and say, yeah, we've made a signing. They've got Iheanacho, who doesn't play, but when he actually comes on, makes a difference. I'm not sure if Iheanacho can play up front on his own.
Yeah.
He doesn't. I don't think he gives you enough when he's on his own. I don't think he picks his runs well enough. But when he's playing as 2 up front, very intelligent on getting in the holes and turning and playing people in, and especially when he gets a chance, he always takes his chance. So centre forward wise, I'm not sure if they actually need another one.
Okay.
But then again, if Vardy's injured, then
it's odd, right? Because do they sign someone of Vardy's standing? Like, do you want to upset Vardy at this point if you go out and buy a first-team striker?
Will it upset him, or would it just give him?
Would that striker want those minutes as well?
Yeah.
I think their biggest danger is losing players.
Yeah.
The bigger teams, so-called bigger teams, picking off their players, the likes of Chilwell or Ndidi or these kind of guys. Sionchu.
Yeah.
I think for them to progress and go to the next level, they need to hold them and then add.
Well, they've got good owners and a good manager that basically says, well, we don't have to sell. It's up to you when you want to sell.
But the thing is with these players, when the Man U comes in, and even though Leicester are doing better at the moment, Man U are a huge team.
You got James Maddison on your mind there because they have been heavily linked.
Yeah,
with him,
well, we can talk about him for an example. If they come in with the right fee, and it's down to the player, what's he going to say? Does he want to stay at Leicester, or does he want to move to Man U and be Man U's number 10?
And I think he will make a difference as well there. And then you look at Chilwell as well. I think City's been looking at him for several years. Chelsea too, as well. Yeah. So, like I said, they don't necessarily need to sell them, but I think Hutz getting at, if there comes a time where them sort of teams are, and you know they're heavily interested in them, it becomes a time when the players say, okay, well, I think it's about my time to move on.
Yeah, my thinking very much was in line with you, but maybe Brendan Rodgers signing that contract extension might convince those players to stay for a little bit more time, as if to say, I bought into... Exactly.
So there's nothing wrong with staying for another year or two. You're still quite young, but then... Again, it
just depends who comes calling.
But are those projects appealing right now, Doogie? If you're James Maddison, no doubt you have aspirations to play for someone like Manchester United. But at the moment, you're thinking, do I go to a Manchester United who are inconsistent, where the best players want to leave, where the manager's not necessarily going to be there in a year's time?
I think it's a very good question. I'm not totally sure. I think also with Man United at the moment, because of their deficiencies, there's a sort of saviour syndrome where you'd be seen as the guy that can get Man United back to the top, and that's a lot of pressure. You saw it with Erling Haaland choosing to go to Dortmund over Man United. I'm sure that came in as a factor, because if he goes into Man United, despite their midfield creativity issues, he would be expected to get them into the Champions League on his goals alone. So I think that's a big question for James Maddison. But I think if they offer, 80 to 100 million, I can see Leicester accepting that, because they turn a £60 million profit in 2 years, and that's just good business sense. And Maddison at United has the potential to be a superstar if they get back going. But I see what you mean. There's a lot of uncertainty at Man United. It's probably not the right time to join, but I can see him going anyway.
I mean, Leicester building a new training ground, probably looking to spend a bit of money, because it is really difficult to get players out of Leicester. To get 80 million for Maguire, we all think he's a good player, but to hold the record for a defender, that is a credit to Leicester and how they made it like pulling teeth, didn't they, for Manchester United in that last month of the transfer window. So I think it'll be extremely difficult. Any other sides where you think there's obvious additions that need to be made? We've said that Liverpool,
you know, they can add to their second string, but we look at Tottenham, Manchester City in desperate need of a centre-half. Have we got any outstanding candidates at the end of the sofa?
Yeah, I think Chelsea could probably strengthen a left-back, even if they don't lose Marcus Alonso. I don't think Marcus Alonso or Emerson have really nailed down that left-back berth. And then you've seen them linked with a sort of, I think it reported this week, a mystery centre-back as well, of sort of £50 million from a Premier League rival. So loads of people were saying it was Joe Gomez. I think it's probably more likely to be Nathan Ake.
Diop.
Or Diop potentially as well. Diop's obviously a lot better than he's shown this year, I think, but struggling at West Ham at the moment. I'm not sure whether he'd be really an upgrade on Tomori, Rudiger or Christensen or Zuma. But yeah, Chelsea at left-back I think is one area they could strengthen.
OK, what about Tottenham, Alan? If you're the director of football, if, say, Alan Hutton, you're coming in tomorrow, you've got £100 million to spend, what area do you go after? Not necessarily the play, you might have to think about that a little bit more, but...
To be honest, I mean, I think there is a few areas where they could strengthen. Obviously, like left back, do they want to go for a centre half? Another one, depending on what's happening with Vertonghen. I think the key area is obviously like the striker situation. I mean, it's not like Kane's going to be out for 3-4 weeks. It's long term. So don't get me wrong, in the second half on that performance, I think the boys up front done really well, caused problems. But if you want to get back into that top four, I think you're going to have to go and get someone. But the flip side to that is the player, whoever comes in and how much you spend on him, he knows when Harry Kane's fit, he's playing. So it's a difficult one.
I mean, talking of getting someone and spending a lot of money in January, can actually hear from Virgil van Dijk post-game now.
Virgil, it turned out to be the narrowest of victories, but does that matter when it gives you the best start ever after 21 games in the top level?
It matters. That's what we want, I think. You know, we want to analyse this game. We want to do much better, especially the second half. But yeah, 3 points, massive, especially here. And yeah, focus on the next game.
Why was that a massive 3 points?
We play Spurs, you know, they're a good side, fantastic side. Obviously, the Champions League final must hurt still for them, I think, and they want to bounce back. You know, any chance they have, they will try to beat us. And I think especially second half, they were pressing us and made it very difficult for us, and we should have done better, I think. But 3 points, massive, so we're very happy with that.
As I said, best start ever by any team after 21 games. What does that give you in terms of your heading in the right direction, in terms of belief of heading in the right direction of what you really want at the end of this season?
I think it gives us all a good feeling. But I think you see, especially the second half, there's still room for improvement. So, yeah, we're going to look at the things we have to improve, and that's the mentality we have. And obviously we're in a good situation, but there's still so much work that we can do to make it even easier at times. But yeah, what I said before, you know, it's a difficult place to come, and yeah, 3 points is outstanding for us.
Well done today.
Thank you very much.
Cheers. Thank you.
January 2018 he signed. What a difference he's made. And are you impressed with the mentality of these Liverpool players? No one's down tools, have they, despite being that many points ahead?
No, I think that's testament to the manager and the players, to really have them thinking that it's not over. And they'll be like this until the final whistle of the last game. And it's great to see, because last season, when you look at what they actually had and what they actually did and where they got to, and still not to win it, they've mentally got themselves in a place where, no, we're going to keep focusing on the next game. Winning that game, then focus on the next game. Win that one and then focus on the next one.
How hard is that? Because it's become a bit cliche, players coming out and saying, we're just thinking about the next game. Like, how much truth does that hold when you're a player in a winning squad?
See, that's the thing. It's like sometimes when you're maybe mid-table and that's all you say, it's on to the next one, you're just maybe saying it. But I think when you're playing at a level that these guys are, top of the league, it's keeping them grounded, feet on the floor, work hard. That's what got us here in the first place. So let's continue to do that and not get ahead of ourselves. And that's why they're storming away with it, because the manager's drilled that into them that they have to be focused. They slipped up maybe last year, a couple of places here and there. I don't think they'll do it this year. They're so focused on what they want to do and achieve, and that's what they're saying. You just have to listen to Van Dijk there.
Certainly. Absolutely relentless. Will, we've got one final question from you, and then I think we'll call it a day, mate.
Yes, one from Ethan. How long will Liverpool's dominance last? And I'm not just talking about the season maybe going unbeaten, but is this the start of a Liverpool dynasty?
Yeah, it could be a start of an era, couldn't it? And especially when you're looking at some of the young lads, when we talk about Curtis coming in, especially when you're looking at them, and then there's the strength that they're building on top of that, because with Gomez coming in there, your fullbacks are fairly young as well. I think midfield-wise, they just need to maybe bring a couple of younger players in that central part of the midfield, but they look like they could dominate for the next 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think we're looking at the kids, as you say as well. Harvey Elliott, the boy Williams at right back also. They're bleeding them in. They're just giving them enough game time to get used to it and get into the feel of how they want to go in the future. And like you're saying, adding in a little bit of quality, bringing through some kids. They're really working not just for now, but for the next few
because
seasons.
Even when you look at Trent, when Trent come in, made a couple of mistakes when he first come in, but they gave him time. They bled him in and gave him time. I'm guessing having him playing right back as opposed to centre back, if you make mistakes there, you can get away with it a little bit. Well, centre back, if you make mistakes, could end up as a goal. But they gave him time, and now look what you're getting.
Yeah. Doogie, thoughts?
Well, it would be. They're going to find it very easy to attract players. I mean, they're potentially going to be the best side in Premier League history by quite a distance. If they go unbeaten, I mean, Arsenal did it, but they drew 12 games. Liverpool might go, drawing 2 or 3 at most. So I think they've got a great opportunity to keep it going and it potentially be back-to-back European champions as well. I mean, they're just in a fantastic position. The one thing is Wijnaldum's got a contract that's running out, I think, at the end of next year. So he might potentially be moved on this summer. Or he could extend either or. So that's potentially one area. But I think midfield's the key area with that front three still 27, 28. I think Firmino's slightly older. So they're in such a fantastic position.
Agreed. Talking of unbelievable quality week after week, Will, let's have a look at next week's show. It's Liverpool versus Manchester United. What a tasty fixture. At 4 p.m. on Soccer AM and Football Daily's YouTube pages. The Football Social will be Sunday, January 19th. Come and join us, pretty please. Thank you to the panel. Thanks to you guys for turning out today. It's been an excellent show. It was an excellent game of football, thoroughly engrossing throughout. Thank you for contributing all your questions, and we'll see you next time. Hello, Dele Alli.
The funny thing was, when I got the call, I was going to hang up on McLaren.
Let me tell you the worst for us, Snodgrass.
That was it.
Go! What a finish. Emil, break it down for us.
Yeah, we was talking, so I didn't see it.
Happy birthday, dear Emil. Happy birthday to you.
But there's nothing to pin it on, so I've just got to hold it.
Emil's just going to hold his birthday badge for the rest of the show.
Oh, no!
I was 36 at Bolton and handling my own pace-wise and everything. I was thinking, Jesus, if this guy would have seen me at 18.
Oh, no! That had goal written all over it.
Shaqiri coming on. Look at that. That hairline has recovered tremendously.
It's unbelievable.
That's outstanding.
Hair transplant of the year.
What are we going, him or Andros Townsend as best lid recoverer?
Townsend by a mile.